This afternoon, eventually going to be looking at some scattered chances of some showers and storms, some moderate downpours, a little bit of lightning going to be possible. Then into the evening and overnight hours, we dry back out by Wednesday about midday to the afternoon hours. Once again, some scattered chances of some showers and storms looking to clear out. Then we're looking drier as we approach the upcoming weekend. Temperatures continue to last back towards the mid to lower 80s. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Gotch.
Let's get moving, St. Louis. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Well, good morning to you. I hope you had a fantastic Memorial Day weekend. Was there news over the weekend? Yeah, there was. And we will be digging into all of that. And I want to know what you think as well as we kind of get going back into it. You know what? 2 4-day work weeks for most of us. Not bad. Not bad. I'm just saying. All right. But thanks for making News Talk STL part of this Tuesday. Interesting development that's happening that may catch you by surprise. We heard a lot about Planned Parenthood being defunded in the reconciliation and the One Big Beautiful Bill and all the things that have happened over the last year. But did you know that Planned Parenthood is set to start getting hundreds of millions of dollars in taxpayer money again coming up here in just a couple of months, unless Congress does something about that as well? Fred Lucas covered the White House for years for the Daily Signal. Now he's an investigative reporter for them, and he joined us late last week to talk about Planned Parenthood being in line to get that money again, but also the fact that they really, really, really don't want to let us know where the money that they have received has gone and where the money they would get will go. Here's that conversation with the Daily Signal's Fred Lucas.
You know, Planned Parenthood really does not want us knowing where all the money's going.
Imagine that.
Yeah, imagine that. Imagine that. Daily Signal all over this with Fred Lucas, who now is a senior investigative reporter. Fred's covered the White House for such a long time, and he joins us right now. And Fred, the headline just caught my eye, which it's supposed to do. Doge panel turns up heat on Planned Parenthood. And among the Planned Parenthoods that you referenced are the ones near us here in St. Louis, Planned Parenthood of Illinois, which has been really, really active because we're looking at basically where is all the money going, and are they just being obstructionist and not wanting the facts to get out there, put aside the actual spending policies? It seems like there's a lot of obstruction to just getting to what's true.
Yeah, this is an inquiry that started last June. So for almost a year now, Planned Parenthood has obstructed, that they've just kind of ignored Congress' inquiries about how they're spending federal money and whether it's going to abortions or quote-unquote gender-affirming care for minors. And that is something, the law does not allow for funds to be used that way. For years, and it's kind of been an ongoing issue with Planned Parenthood federal funding as to whether they are just commingling those funds and of course, money is always fungible. That Planned Parenthood has always said, well, we use it for other healthcare issues, even though everyone knows they are the nation's largest abortion providers. So that's always been sort of an unbelievable stretch for most people that none of that money has ever gone to abortion.
Right. Well, yeah, without a doubt. I mean, and in this case here, you've got basically a subcommittee from the House Oversight Committee. It's referred to as kind of a Doge thing. So really, you've got a subcommittee that's looking at, okay, let's take those principles that Doge was so hot with for a few minutes. And there's the obstruction, but then there's, like you're referencing, Fred, you're referencing that, wait a minute, we have been told this, but we're getting awful close. We're following the smoke to the fire to find out that, no, we are being misled and money could be being used illegally. I mean, how close are we to getting that confirmation? Because I'll tell you right now, the follow-up question is, we've been told Planned Parenthood's been defunded, but that's only temporary. Our tax dollars are about to go back to them, as I understand it.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. The One Big Beautiful Bill, that did defund Planned Parenthood, and that was something that President Trump famously delivered on that many other Republicans had only talked about for decades. However, that's about to snap right back into place, and Congress is, as is often the case, maybe more interested in their holiday vacations than really addressing that and ensuring that funding doesn't just snap back into place, because the defunding of Planned Parenthood from the one big beautiful bill that passed last year, that was only for one single budget year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be surprised to hear that just now, Fred, because there was a lot of celebration. Planned Parenthood finally defunded. Tax dollars are not going there. And we must have missed the fine print to say, oh, but they're going to start getting the money again.
Well, right. I mean, every budget process affects 1 year effectively, but yeah. I mean, certainly there was potentially more celebration than warranted for that. Mm-hmm. But it is a start. I mean, 1 year, that's a start, and that's better than what we've seen in the past.
Okay, so in the digging into where the money's going, and by the way, the article is called Doge Panel. Let's see here. Let me scroll up there, make sure I get it right. Doge Panel turns up heat on Planned Parenthood abortion gender treatments. You can find it at dailysignal.com. So basically what we're looking at is 11 separate Planned Parenthood affiliates, including Illinois, right here in the St. Louis area. They've received questionnaires regarding the funding. How much information have they been willing to share with lawmakers, particularly Congressman Burchett?
Nothing really. This is a subcommittee within the House Oversight Committee, and it's called it's the Subcommittee on Delivering on Government Efficiency. So Doge still lives on Capitol Hill, and looking in and conducting these types of investigations. But since June 2025, they have not responded. The initial inquiry was to the main Planned Parenthood, which should have this type of information. The primary national Planned Parenthood and the president, Alex McGill, did not respond. Then the subsequent letters were sent to local affiliates, and they're also just ignoring this. They ignored our inquiry as well, which wasn't a big surprise.
Right.
On this, they did put out a blue sky statement, not on this specifically, but just recently on gender issues. So blue sky is where they usually make their big statements, which is, a lot of people know blue sky as being Twitter for crazy people, but I thought what they said was sort of interesting. Planned Parenthood posted on International Day Against Homophobia, Transphobia, biophobia. We want to be clear: your gender identity is not up for debate. You deserve the right to live freely and fully, just as you are. I think maybe both sides might agree that you should live just as you are, but on the gender issue, but that's another story.
Yeah, we got a very different definition of as you are. Exactly.
As you are, right? As you biologically are.
Yeah, we're live in reality. In other words, we're visiting with Fred Lucas from the Daily Signal. Okay, so what's next? What do we need to be watching? What do we need to potentially be contacting lawmakers and pressuring them regarding this? Because Planned Parenthood, when they have been funded by the federal government all these years, we're not talking about pocket change. We're talking about a significant amount of taxpayer dollars.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we talk. I mean, really hundreds of millions over the decades and so forth. But they say it's for various women's health services. I think the question has always been out there. Aren't there other avenues if you want to fund cervical cancer research and so forth, or examinations for women? There are other places, rural health clinics and so forth, that could do a lot of those services that don't provide abortions. But rather, Democrats have insisted, and basically it's one of their key lobby groups, Democrats have always insisted that money has to go to Planned Parenthood, and that Planned Parenthood can never be defunded. And at the same time, they insist, but this money never goes to abortion.
Yeah, which is nonsense. I mean, other than abortion, you could get every other service that they claim they provide, and many times they don't provide. You can get those at any pregnancy resource center, or you can get those at almost every minute clinic in the pharmacy, much less community clinics as well. I mean, other than abortion, everything that they say that they need to be funded for, it is available in multiple places in almost every community.
Right. I mean, if they want to give a CVS Minute Clinic, I'm sure CVS would probably be glad to take that federal funding. They probably don't need it, but right. I mean, this is a Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood makes most of their money from abortion. Most of their, and that's kind of their golden ticket. Always has been. They've expanded into this quote unquote gender affirming care issues of sex changes for minors and so forth. So that's kind of a new area for them, but it's in the same ideological mold.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Once again, Doge panel turns up heat on Planned Parenthood abortion, gender treatment at dailysignal.com. It was written by Fred Lucas, who is with us right now. Fred, last minute or so that we've got, we've obviously tagged you on our social media as well. You and I did an interview, gosh, it's been a year and a half ago or so, with the book that was out, and that's still relevant today. Remind people where they can find that.
Oh, yeah. Please check it out. The Myth of Voter Suppression, and it is quite relevant among a lot of the issues being debated now with the SAVE Act, voter ID, even redistricting on some level, which I know is affecting Missouri, and I have a story coming out on that here today or tomorrow, actually. Please check out The Myth of Voter Suppression. It's Amazon, Barnes & Noble, wherever you buy books.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've already tagged on social media, so dailysignal.com, I guess, would be the best way to follow your work, just right to the website, right?
Yeah, and you can also follow me on Twitter. Still the same Twitter handle, Fred Lucas WH.
All right, as you know, we got a lot of news to cover, a lot of ground to cover here. 314-912-1019. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Yes, I listen on my phone.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
Love the all-new News Talk STL app.
It is awesome.
And listen anytime,
Love the News Talk STL app.
anywhere.
Hey, it's Vic Porcelli. We're sitting here with our great friend, Chris Cooper. Hi, Chris.
What's going on, Vic? How are you?
I hear you wrote another book. This one's an e-book. Is that right?
The Business Owner's Playbook for Financial Clarity. So it is a great book for entrepreneurs. It's a very short guide. Give people, business owners, the ability to understand key questions that are important, such as succession planning, legacy planning, getting the IRS out of our pockets, right? Because do you like paying taxes?
I do not.
I don't think anybody likes paying taxes, right? That just makes sense. And then always talking about protection. And then the other thing from a business owner perspective, what is the biggest asset a business owner has? Probably their business itself, right? We need to make sure we understand what the value of that business is as well.
So this new book, I'm sure, is incredibly expensive, right? How much?
No, it's a free resource.
Oh, it's free.
We provide guidance, we provide education because we want to make sure people feel educated and understanding because sometimes you don't know what questions to ask, and we need to make sure we help arm people with information to ask the right question.
Reach out to Chris and Stacy today at SerenityWealthNow.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
Don't let spring surprises ruin your comfort. Johnson Heating and Cooling in Wentzville is offering air conditioner checkups for just $99. We'll check your Freon, inspect your condensate hose, and test all electrical connections. Plus, we'll clean your system for no additional charge if you act before June 30th. Keep your home running smoothly this season. Visit johnson-heatingandcooling.com. That's johnson-heatingandcooling.com. Johnson Heating and Cooling. Your comfort, our priority.
1949, the last time a Republican held the top post in St. Louis City. A gallon of milk was 84 cents and streetcars ran down Grand Avenue. Unfortunately, St. Louis City streets are no longer the epicenter of family and business life. In the 80 years of Democrat control, our city has been on a steady decline.
Hello, Kirk Ilsinger, chairman of the Republican Party for the city of St. Louis, and we believe it is our duty to provide a different path forward. I invite you to our meetings the first Thursday of every month. Learn more at stl-gop.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Very active, very fun chat box. Cinderfer.
Hi, Cinderfer.
Hey, how you doing?
She says, yo, Vic, baby. Verbatim, yo, Vic, baby. With an exclamation point. How else are you supposed to read that? I was driving, had to pull over to comment. I was going to say how sexy the beard is, but I'm afraid of your wife.
I'll tell you what, I would be.
Vic Porcelli, live and local, weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go. And pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. That's 800-515-2397.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
So we blew up a bunch of stuff in Iran again.
It seemed inevitable.
Yeah, I think we saw that was going to happen. I guess a couple of things find this interesting. One is the fact that I think a majority of Americans have tuned this out.
Yeah.
We've literally initiated a war against a Middle Eastern country, and most of America's like, eh. But we're mad about the gas prices.
Yes.
So we're feeling the effect of that. But because, and we've said this before, but because, thank God, there are not large numbers of soldiers coming back having been killed in action, I think we're just sort of tuning it out. And so what happened yesterday, while you were barbecuing and drinking and whatever else, enjoying your holiday, we hit some missile launching sites and some boats.
Okay.
Yeah, some boats that CENTCOM was saying was laying mines apparently in the various waters out there. So they're not saying a whole lot else. But here's the other thing, Jerome, is that they're supposed to do peace talks today. They're like representatives are going to, I think it's Doha, and so that's going to be a little awkward. I mean, can you imagine the coffee break time? It's like, so about that ceasefire.
Well,
you blew some stuff up.
And let me use my psychic powers. They did that without congressional authority, right?
Yeah. Well,
wow.
because we're being told that this was self-defense. And so that's how the White House is couching it, is that it was self-defense. So what's interesting is this is dragging on and on and on and on, much longer than we were, and to be fair, the White House did not give an end date. They did not say by this date, this is going to happen. They left that open-ended. That was, smart on their part. Is well beyond the 70-day thing, and so them saying, well, this is really a new action is nonsense. We all know it. Their Department of Justice is going to argue this is within the letter of the law. I don't think it is, but whatever. We'll talk to Congressman Bob Onder about it here in just a little bit. But it's interesting because we're at war. Mm-hmm. I mean, we are at war. It's not declared by Congress, but we haven't had war declared by Congress since the 1940s. But we're at war, and other than the gas prices, well, I mean, it's affecting our lives in that everything's more expensive. It's got a very inflationary, effect on us. But the war itself is just not something people are paying attention to.
Well, okay, because as well, for the past 2 or so months now, we've been told, well, we've completely obliterated their Navy. We've 90% of the missile capability is gone.
Mm-hmm.
They will never be able to rebuild for 10 years. They are actively begging. They are pleading. They are at our mercy to get a peace deal. They want to negotiate so badly. And then that's not what, for 2 months we've heard that. How much more can we be told that? Now, when I was going into the weekend, because you know me, I never shut my political brain off.
Okay, which, by the way, behind the curtain, I keep telling him to do that, but he won't listen to me.
Yes, unlike your Ryan, you actually do beg me to take some time off from time to time. So, and it looked very promising. I mean, there's a whole, it was like all hands on deck at the White House. I believe J.D. Vance canceled a trip to show up. President Trump, wasn't able to attend the wedding of his kids, so that way he could be there. They were all. It seemed like something was going to actually happen. The White House was saying this looks very promising. I checked on the Iranian side because, they always like to have the propaganda. But there's BRICS News, BRICS. That's the like alliance of Iran and China and then Brazil and them. And they even said that Iran looks like they are willing to finally accept this. It's going to be great. And then you see Mark Levin and Lindsey Graham say, don't do it, President. This is horrible. Don't do it. Ted Cruz as well. And then, of course, Benjamin Netanyahu, apparently, according to Times of Israel, was furious about this because he felt like he was being sidetracked. And so at that moment, I'm like, okay, we're not going to get nothing.
No.
We have three different players that all want three different things, one of which is a violent extremist terrorist group. Then there's us, and we're sitting there saying, well, we're trying to do this for the good of the world, but we just can't get we can't get all the kittens in one box together. So I don't know what we are going to have to do besides just keep bombing them and then ceasefire and then bombing them and ceasefire. I mean, I don't know at what point, if they are as obliterated as Hegseth and Speaker Johnson and Trump keep saying, then this should be a no-brainer that they should say, okay, please stop bombing us. We've got nothing left. But if they're able to still put mines in the water, I mean, why would you not take a deal at that point?
Well, because they're being sourced from around the world. I mean, we may have taken out their troves of everything, but you know that from other China and other places, they're like, hey, we'll set you up. There are Islamic nations that are on one side of the mouth. They're talking us being allies or at least supporting or agreeing, but on the other side, they're probably funding it and sourcing them as well.
Yeah.
We don't think the way that they think. They have this Stone Age thinking in that part of the world that's very, very long term. And when we say, for instance, what you said regarding, they're getting annihilated, why don't they just say, okay, uncle, stop? They don't think in terms like that. I don't know how many tens of thousands of people we've have been caught and killed in the bombing and all that sort of thing in Iran. But they don't care. Western nations care about that. This sort of Stone Age thinking does not care about that. And that's one of the things I think we need to get our head around, to say that they look at, well, we celebrate life in Western culture. We value life. They value death. They value martyrdom. That's what. So we've got to understand that as this thing drags on. All right, 5:54. Okay, just a little bit here on. I guess it was Thursday afternoon, late Thursday afternoon or Friday. It was actually Friday, I think. Governor Kehoe announced which ballot issues are going to go on the August ballot. Ooh. That was his deadline. I guess it was Friday because I was actually Billy was in for me, and then the governor announced it, I think, late in the afternoon on Friday. So it was announced a few days ago, but people are just now kind of picking up the news on it. So here in just a little bit, around 6:20, what I want to do is go through on the Missouri side, say, here's what's going to be on that August ballot. Two of the really big ones are going to be in August, which leaves Amendment 3 for November, possibly by itself in November. So I'll tell you what we're going to be voting on, get your thoughts on it. Two of the biggest questions that affect the state are going to be decided in August. So we'll just kind of do a factoid check of this. And then also at 6:35, our buddy Stu McMillian from the Heartlander and from the Lion from over the Herzog Foundation, he did kind of a dive into some of the stuff that the Illinois legislature is looking at, the assembly, because their legislative session wraps up this week. So, Missouri just wrapped up. Now we've got the Illinois side. Oh, my gosh. Are some of the lunatic left, some of the stuff that they are pushing, it's just, Democrats just did this postmortem on 2024 saying, why did we get our butts kicked? And Illinois is like, oh, no, we can do worse than that. I mean, has
You're not wrong.
Governor Pritzker and the Democratic leadership not met anyone in central or southern Illinois? Have they not met anyone downstate? Now, still, does that mean that Governor Pritzker's going to lose the race? No, that's not what that means at all.
Unfortunately, that's not what it means.
But it means that you've got a fringe extremist part of the left, and they are so focused on the abortion and the sexual stuff and the so-called transing of kids. It's unreal. And so Stu did an article on this that's on the Heartlander. It's also in Read Lion. And we're going to go over some of the details on that. It's just absolutely mind-boggling.
Well, and that's the shame of it, too, is I don't think people really put enough emphasis on the responsibility that comes with voting. They fight, hear these little issues that in their mind make sense, and they ignore all the other ways your life is getting wrong. But I want to be a champion. It's just ridiculous.
Well, here's one of the things in Illinois, and of course, I moved out of Illinois in 89, 90 maybe. You just moved out of there however many years ago.
2022.
Yeah.
So
what's happening here is there's a lot of conservative public voters who don't show up because they think it's a lost cause. They need to rethink that.
when pests invade your home, you need someone you can trust. It's Jamie Allman here, and at Buckingham Pest Control, they're not just your exterminators, they're your neighbors and friends. A locally owned family business and St. Louis Magazine A-List award winner, providing affordable, quality pest control. Plus, they offer energy-efficient TAP attic insulation, the only insulation that controls pests. BuckinghamPestControl.com. That's BuckinghamPestControl.com.
Ready for instant curb appeal that comes with a 25-year transferable warranty? Call Rhino Shield today. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, aluminum, steel, cedar, and more. Over the past 20 years, we've done thousands of homes, businesses, churches, schools, condos, parking garages, large metal buildings, and strip malls, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks. We do flat and sloped metal roofs to extend their lives too. Proud to be veteran-owned and manufactured in the good old USA. So we're tariff-free. We're exceeding expectations every day. Evaluations are free. A-plus rated with the BBB and a lot of 5-star Google reviews. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
A Disney cruise is no ordinary vacation. It's an adventure, a fairy tale, a dream. Step aboard and discover where favorite Disney characters meet fun for the whole family, where total rest and relaxation meet the ultimate escape and excitement, where a dream vacation meets a magical cruise. Only on Disney Cruise Line, where magic meets the sea.
Magic Expeditions will make planning your Disney cruise easy. Reach out at magicexpeditions.com.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf.
800-240-4586. 800-240-4586. That's 800-240-4586.
What's the best way to get rid of a timeshare that you don't want? Call the Timeshare Exit Hotline. We're a group of attorneys that help customers legally exit their timeshares. It's an easy process. We guarantee results or you pay nothing. Exit your timeshare today. Call now.
800-524-1641. 800-524-1641. That's 800-524-1641.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
I'm Rex Thomason. Secretary of State Rubio says U.S.-Iran negotiations are ongoing, even as the American military hits Iran again.
The U.S. military says it carried out self-defense strikes in Iran, including on missile launch sites. The attacks on missile launch sites and boats placing mines come even as President Donald Trump said on social media that negotiations were proceeding nicely. Earlier, Trump said any agreement to end the Iran war should include a requirement for several additional countries, including Saudi Arabia and Pakistan, to join the Abraham Accords. That's the U.S. brokered agreements from Trump's first term aimed at normalizing relations with Israel. Further details were not immediately available, including more specifics on the threats from Iran and what this means for negotiations. Haya Panjwani, Washington.
An Israeli airstrike has hit a village in eastern Lebanon. Israel going after Iranian-backed Hezbollah fighters. Lebanese state media says a dozen people were killed. An Israeli security official says the military is calling up more troops for Lebanon. Republican U.S. Senator John Cornyn's facing a challenge from Texas State Attorney General Ken Paxton. Today's GOP primary runoff. Paxton has been endorsed by President Trump. Cornyn is seeking a fifth term in the U.S. Senate. President Trump goes to the doctor today, his annual physical and dental checkup at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center. An evacuation order lifted for at least some of the tens of thousands of people who live near a damaged chemical storage tank in Southern California. Authorities say at this point no longer a danger of a massive explosion. The New York Knicks going to the NBA Finals for the first time in 27 years after routing the Cleveland Cavaliers in Cleveland last night, 130 to 93. Wall Street Dow futures up 262 points. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Hey, if your loved one is aging but still mobile, still values their independence, there's a simple tool that keeps them safe and keeps you in the know. I am proud to tell you about Safety Plus by Connected Caregiver. Safety Plus is a wearable device that alerts you immediately if your loved one has had a fall. They can wear it as a necklace, on their belt, but there's even a great watch option. There's even a simple push button on the device allowing mom or dad instant access to emergency services. As you age, it's not like you plan for a fall. Suddenly your knee might lock up. There's an uneven surface, wet floor. There's simply no excuse to not wear something discreet that keeps you safe and can keep you at home longer. That's Safety Plus by Connected Caregiver. To see if you qualify for a free device, call 888-870-8020, 888-870-8020, or visit ccgoffer.com, ccgoffer.com. Again, 888-870-8020. With Connected Caregiver, peace of mind is just a phone call away.
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking temperatures back towards the lower 80s. This afternoon, eventually going to be looking at some scattered chances of some showers and storms. Some moderate downpours, a little bit of lightning going to be possible. Then into the evening and overnight hours, we dry back out by Wednesday about midday to the afternoon hours. Once again, some scattered chances of some showers and storms looking to clear out. Then we're looking drier as we approach the upcoming weekend. Temperatures continue to last back towards the mid to lower 80s. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey, it's Susie Moore. If new flooring makes you think hassle, think again, because Michael's Flooring is changing the game. For over 30 years, Michael's has been locally owned and trusted for quality, variety, and amazing service. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, or ceramic tile, their expert team makes installing new floors exciting, not stressful. That's why customers keep coming back. Visit Michael's Flooring at St. Peter's, Starting Prairie, Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
Hey, Jamie Allman here for Window World. Did you know that Window World offers a lifetime warranty that covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor? They are one of the only 2 replacement windows with the Good Housekeeping seal of approval. Window World St. Louis has been owned and operated by a group of born and raised St. Louis residents for more than 23 years, and now Window World is offering 36 months same as cash financing with approved credit. Call them today, 800-GET-WINDOWS for a free in-home, no-pressure estimate. That's Window World at 800-GET-WINDOWS.
All the information I need on the drive to work.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. I keep it on throughout the day, whether it's local, national, or something big that's happening overseas.
News, analysis, and opinion.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
Mike Ferguson.
Well, I'm sick and tired of smart guys.
Susie Moore.
Get out of here and stop playing victim.
Get up, St. Louis.
We have federal regulations that prohibit hunting duck, and yet it's legal to hunt humans.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Okay, I want to give everybody just a few minutes to kind of get settled in, get your coffee, and then at 6:20, let me just kind of give you a preview of what we're doing here. The governor announced on Friday which issues are going on which ballots, right? Okay, so I know that happened on Friday. This is now Tuesday.
What day is
it's
it?
Tuesday.
I am so confused.
It's Tuesday. Hey, we're going to start asking for Flashback Friday requests tomorrow. Let's put it.
I'm stuck like last Friday. I don't know.
So the governor announced it, but here's the reality is by about noon on Friday, didn't most of us kind of check out for the weekend? So we're going to go over what's going to be on the August ballot, and 2 of the really big questions are going to be on the August ballot. So let's review that. And then 6:35, our buddy Stu McMillian from the Heartlander and Reed Lion is going to be with us. He did a dive into some of the stuff that the far left Democrats and some of the leadership are pushing in Illinois, because their assembly's legislative session ends this week. And it is insane how perverse this is, and the extremes that they want to go to on, things like the abortion and the gender ideology. And at one point, even thinking about laws that would restrict like foster care and adoptions if they go out of state somewhere, so you want to adopt a kid, who's in Illinois, but the state may restrict it, saying, well, that may be a state where they may not be able to get an abortion. I mean, literally, it is. That's how demented the far left is in Illinois.
Hey.
Yeah. So Stu's going to be with us at 6:35 to go over that. 6:07 right now. Okay, I found this story. It was on the AP, and it's interesting because the a-holery, I think I can say that on the air, of those protesters who stormed into that church in Minnesota, that is having some actual fallout around the country. So at least 4 states have passed laws that criminalize the disruption of a religious service. And this is in response to this. Now, there's already trespassing laws, and there's always that sort of thing, but they're creating a specific law that you cannot disrupt a religious service.
Okay.
It doesn't matter which religious service it is, just a religious service.
Right.
And so I'm reading the article here that was published last night, late last night. And it says at least 4 states have adopted the laws this year, making it a crime. So we're not talking about civil. You can sue. I mean, we're talking arrest, prosecution, that sort of thing.
Okay.
In every one of the states, Republicans are the ones who sponsored and passed the laws.
Sure.
In Kansas, they have a Democratic governor, which you may say, well, Kansas is a Republican state. Well, yeah, but it's not a conservative state. The Republicans in Kansas are not the Republicans in Missouri. Let's put it that way. But the Democratic governor there refused to sign the bill. She didn't veto it, or it just went into law without her signature.
Okay.
So she would not sign into law something that criminalizes disrupting a religious service.
Oh, Kanoki.
Right. Okay. So in the AP article, there's a 1-sentence paragraph here that says, critics in both parties have warned that the laws infringe on free speech rights. Okay, that's my thought too. What do I know? I've only read the Constitution and the Federalist and Anti-Federalist and Declaration a number of times. You're actually trained in this stuff. How on earth does that violate free speech rights?
Okay. If you're talking about prior restraint of speech, you're basically talking about limiting people's rights.
Right.
To, so that's where you get the idea from. But when what you're talking about is interrupting somebody else's right to exercise their First Amendment, to practice their religion, to assemble. All of their First Amendment rights are being trampled on by the people that are interrupting that.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about, you're kind of tying this into the impression you get, or the assumption you have, is that you are on private property. I don't know if if there's any exceptions for if it's an outdoor service or something that's being held in public. I think you have a different calculation if you're talking about something that's being held in public.
Yeah, I mean it's for the services on the private property.
Okay.
They're four of them all have different little different things to them. But essentially, it's targeting a religious service. So if they have a permit to go to a park, I'm going to assume that you're not allowed to come rush in, which happened where was that? Somewhere up in the Northwest that happened, where they came in and started screaming and everything, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, but see, so if you turn it into like a protest versus a counter protest,
Right,
that I think gets a little bit closer. But if you're just talking about your traditional religious, facility and service, I don't see how they'll raise it as a defense.
Right.
But I don't think the law gets stricken down for that.
Yeah. So the laws, similar bills have been introduced in 7 other states and in Congress and in Nassau County, New York, just the county right there. They passed something to that effect. But they've been signed into law, or they become law in Idaho, Louisiana, Oklahoma, and Kansas. So their against the trespassing laws already there. Penalties could be harsher for trespassing. So there's trespassing, you won't leave, and then there's you're violating
trespassing
the
and disturbing.
Right. In some places, you could face a year in prison, fines as high as $10,000, depending on the state, for first offenses. And then the law also gives the states, generally speaking, ways to prosecute cases if local authorities won't do it. You disrupt let's say you disrupt Grace Church in St. Louis County, very Republican church. It's a very politically active Republican church, but it's a church. is a Sam Page-led administration going to really fight for prosecution of protesters going in there? Probably not. Melissa Price Smith might, now that she's the prosecutor, but would Wesley Bell have done that? Probably not. But so if the locals say, we'll plea bargain it away, this would allow, like, for instance, the Attorney General to come in and do it.
Yeah, I mean, I can see someone raising that as a defense to it. I can see someone challenging the law. I don't think that's going to be successful because I think you're talking about you're interfering with other people's First Amendment rights in the process. So I don't see how that flies.
Yeah, because in Minnesota, 39 people charged back in February. It seems like I say back in February. I mean, that's only 3 months
Which
ago.
year?
Yeah, that's only 3 months ago. That was the St. Paul, Minnesota church service because one of the church pastors was bivocational and worked for ICE.
Right.
And so they claimed they had a right to go in and scream and shout and disrupt the service even after they were told to leave. So the U.S. Department of Justice is prosecuting that case because obviously they're not going to do it in Minnesota as well. So, yeah, I mean, for those on the left, and I'm seriously as open-minded as I can possibly be on this because clearly I've got a strong opinion on it. What's the opposition to this? Why would anybody? Okay, so you may be thinking of a stereotypical conservative, say, Protestant church or Catholic church. Okay, but this would apply to a mosque. This would apply to any religion. The way that these are written, these aren't just protecting Christian services or Catholic services or non-denominational services or anything like that. It's any religious service, which is the way that it should be.
Well, I think the objection is that Republicans are pushing it.
Yeah, you're probably right.
So it's being, it was spurred on by what happened in Minnesota, and it's being advocated for by the right. So therefore, we must oppose it.
Well, on the other hand, too, at least the Democrats that I know, a lot of them that are at least my age that would be pushing against is they don't value religious freedoms. Or They view religion as an oppressive, fascist, evil thing that needs to be removed from the progressive new society. And so why would you support something that would protect the people that you view as these evil, horrible people, even though it's not the way people actually are?
Because I think there's a lot of people who don't recognize the importance of the freedom of religion from a secular perspective. Regardless of what you think of any particular sect or creed or anything like that, is that you're talking about a defense of the freedom of conscience and the freedom of thought.
Yeah, but that's higher-minded, Mike.
Yeah.
That's like an intellectual approach to it.
That's
We just feel and lash out.
There's a lot of religions I can't stand. I think they're wrong. I think they're backward thinking. I think they are probably in a lot of ways oppressive if people end up in them. Mentally and otherwise. But that doesn't change the fact that you should have the freedom of religion. You have the freedom to go enroll in a faith that I disagree with. I mean, that's not for me or the government to say one way or the other. And you've got the freedom to practice that unless you're actively harming somebody else.
Oh, absolutely. I would vehemently and unapologetically rally against any form of Sharia law becoming law in the United States.
Right.
At the same time, you will never see me harassing people at a mosque because if there's anywhere in the world that people should not be harassed, it's even if I disagree with their faith, it is inside of a place of worship, unless of course they're doing some sort of child abuse weirdness.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Which we already have plenty of laws to cover over there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, and I know we're going to the information segment here. Did you see what Jacob Fry put on Twitter or put on social media yesterday?
I feel like I did for a second, but I didn't stick with me.
On this day, we remember.
Oh, I did see.
George Floyd.
St. George.
What?
George Floyd.
The noble hero who risked life and limb for the greater good, or the guy that put a gun to a pregnant woman's belly?
Yeah. On Memorial Day, Jacob Fry thought it was a good day to say, on this day, we remember George Floyd. Because as of yesterday, he's been clean and sober for, 6 years now?
Well, congratulations.
There's that. We now know which ballot questions are going to be decided in August. That update comes your way at 6:20.
Don't try to make me stop. No inspiration. You have a soul so dark it is no more. And all at once depart. No destination. Making cold my heart to fight your war. Stop it right now.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Always be yourself, unless you suck.
On News Talk STL.
Before you blow us all away.
The Herzog Tomorrow Foundation provides private school tuition scholarships through Missouri's new Most Scholars program to cover the cost of accessible, high-quality schooling.
Hi, this is Myella Esser with the Herzog Tomorrow Foundation. Our private school tuition scholarships wouldn't be possible without the support of generous Missouri taxpayers. If you're a Missouri taxpayer interested in redirecting your tax dollars and sending them to Missouri students in need of a better education, please contact me at herzogmostscholars.org.
Better education for students creates a better tomorrow for all. Learn how you can help provide a better education for Missouri students at herzogmostscholars.org. That's herzogmostscholars.org. Also, sign up for The Lion, an initiative of the Herzog Foundation that carries articles covering a wide range of issues facing American families and culture. herzogfoundation.com. That's herzogfoundation.com.
Yo, this is Vic. Vic for Vets is proudly honoring our veterans. Every Wednesday at 11:05, you'll hear about that day's honoree and their incredible service to our country.
Hi, it's Ken. You want to nominate a veteran? Send their name, service information, and story to me, Ken, at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Brought to you by Heroes Care, Alamo Military Collectibles, Gemini Wealth Group, Michael's Funeral Home, and Freddie's Market.
Together, let's celebrate the heroes in our community. Vic for Vets, where honor meets gratitude.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey, Chris Arps from the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. Make sure that you're listening to our show this afternoon from 4 to 6. Now back to the Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show.
Okay, we're going to talk about some of the insanity happening on the Illinois side of the river this last week of the Assembly's legislative session. We're going to do that at 6:35. But the August election just got a lot more important to Missouri with the governor's announcement. 6:19 right now. Hey, just a quick note. What was it, Saturday, I think it was, I ran into a nutrition stop to grab a few things.
Sure.
And they were having one of their kind of educational things where I think it was women's health. And, because we've talked about, they have like a lot of floor space there that they could be selling more stuff.
Right.
They leave it open so that they can do these things, these like free community events.
Sure.
And there was somebody from one of the nutrition companies they work with who was given a presentation, and I don't know, there was probably 20, 25 ladies who were there watching and listening and taking notes and all that sort of thing. So I'm just trying to be like real quiet and get my protein and my coffee and all that kind of stuff. And there was
You didn't decide to identify as a woman. So
I did not. No. But there was one lady there who turned around and saw me and started waving at me. And I'm like, hey, and she would just kind of mouth the words, I listen every morning. So I just kind of mouthed back, thank you, because I wanted to disturb a thing. So for you, I'm sorry I didn't get to say hi in person.
Lady?
Yes, thank you for saying that and pointing that out. And I hope you really enjoyed the presentation that they had that was for you and probably not for me. But I just wanted to say thank you because I didn't get a chance. I couldn't stick around long enough to say hi and introduce myself. But thank you. I just wanted to say thank you for that. I appreciate you.
We appreciate
you flagging
our
me down.
listeners.
Okay,
Absolutely.
Okay, so Friday, I think it was late afternoon, Governor Kehoe announces which ballots or which questions are going on which ballot. Yep. Okay, so let's just do this. Let's just run down the list because essentially what we're looking at is Amendment 3, the pro-life amendment, November. Now, he hasn't officially announced that, but he doesn't have a deadline. But it looks like that's going to be the only thing statewide on the ballot in November.
Okay.
Unless something else, pops up in the meantime or something shakes loose with this, congressional map thing. But here's what we know is going to be on the ballot in August. Okay. So Amendment 1, this is the one that pops up every 10 years. This is a 0.1% sales tax, and they've added use tax. So like if you're buying stuff off Amazon and whatnot, you're going to pay the same tax. This is the soil and water conservation, the state parks, and historic sites, which they added, I think, about 20 years ago. Okay, so this comes up every 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And generally speaking, there's really no campaign. People just tend to approve it. It's a tax, so I vote against it. But
it's a continuation of one.
Right.
It's not a new one. And people see conservation and
Right.
state parks and kind of like, yeah, you know what? I can cough up 0.1% for that.
Right. So 0.1%. And this is designated exactly for that. So this is one in the state constitution. It just has to be reapproved every 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I suspect it will. We probably won't even talk about it.
It's not controversial.
It's pretty
just,
not. Yeah.
You know, if you on principle don't want there to be taxes, then you might oppose it. But
if you just want
in the whole scheme of obnoxious taxes, this is not really high on the.
Not in the least bit. If you just want to be contrarian like me, but overall, this is pretty non-controversial on this. Okay, now we get into some of the other stuff. Amendment 2, which I don't know that that's going to affect us a whole lot around here. But what this does is this changes the state constitution to require that all charter counties, and this is really looking at Jackson County, Kansas City. That's what
because it says including Jackson County.
That they will have to elect a county assessor, and then there's a bunch of requirements that a county assessor is going to have to do. So all assessors will have to, abide by state training and requirements and stuff like that.
So Jackson County is kind of the equivalent of St. Louis City, just in terms of it encompasses the core Kansas City.
Right.
And we're saying they don't have an assessor?
Well, they have one, but I don't think it's elected. I think it's appointed.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's the difference is that in a charter, because charter counties and charter cities, if you become a charter county or charter city, basically you can create your own, within limits, with your own kind of local governance.
Mm-hmm.
So a charter is like the city charter in St. Louis City. That's the city constitution.
Right.
The charter of St. Louis County is the county constitution, essentially.
Even if Sam Page doesn't understand it.
Right, or just ignores it.
Right.
And so what this will do is require that if it's a charter county, then what will happen is they simply have to elect it.
Yep.
It doesn't necessarily change what the assessor does. They're just not going to be able to have in their charter that it's appointed by the executive or by the county council.
Interesting that we need an amendment for that, but okay.
Yeah. So probably because that is a restriction on another government would be my thinking.
Yeah.
I don't really have a strong opinion one way or the other on that.
No,
I'll be really honest.
Other than for consistency's sake, since that's how the other charter cities, counties do it, maybe that probably makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, and it's I'm open to the argument that Jackson County wants to appoint one, fine, let them. I don't really have a dog in the fight. It doesn't really matter to me. I'm open to be swayed either way on that, but that's one of the things we're going to be voting on. Okay, the two big ones for this coming August here. Amendment 4. Okay, so this is the initiative petition reform.
Mm-hmm.
And this is and it's also important to know what this is not. What you are going to hear a lot is that Amendment 4 takes away the people's right to amend the Constitution.
BS.
It does no such thing. Or that it takes away the people's right to redress grievances. It does not. Okay, so regardless of what you think on this, here's what it would change. And it's not a massive change.
No.
So what this would do is 4 constitutional amendments. There's a reason I'm putting it that way. Is that, say whatever referendum you want to change the Constitution, because what we've seen is the marijuana industry wanted its framework to operate in Missouri, so they wrote their own state constitutional amendment and bought their own one. The gambling outfits did the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. They wrote and then paid tens of millions of dollars to win these elections. So we know that in Missouri there is a price to get a constitutional amendment, which then eliminates the legislature from being able to regulate or deal with it.
We also know we have a constitution that has amendments coming out the ears.
Yes. So what this does is says, if we're going to amend the state constitution, because right now what it takes is 50% plus 1 vote in any particular election to amend the Constitution. Right. But this will also say there has to be consensus across the state, is that there has to be 50% plus 1 in all 8 congressional districts.
Right.
So that means St. Louis and Kansas City can't basically override and inflict something on the rest of the state.
Right.
Now, I personally think to amend the state constitution that it should be more than 50% plus one.
I do too, but I mean, if this is the intermediary step, I will take it. And yes, just as Kansas City and St. Louis can't override the rest of the state, the rest of the state can't override them either. I mean, everybody's got to be bought in to a certain extent.
Right. And 50% plus one in all 8 districts of the state.
I think that's reasonable.
Now, Scooter, good morning, Scooter,
Hey, Scooter.
says Amendment 4 is no, because it would not apply to amendments proposed by Jeff City. Is that true? Because in the ballot language I'm reading on the website right now, it does not say that, by the way, Jeff City would be exempt from all this.
Right. This is referendum.
This is a referendum.
Right.
Not legislative, not the legislature putting an amendment out there.
Right.
This is initiative petition
reform. Right. Exactly. So that's a fair point. I still think it should be even higher, but we just can't get that at the moment. Now, here's where I'm making a difference between the constitutional amendment and what we're about to hear. You're going to hear people say, well, this stops us from, the people from vetoing laws or passing laws. No, not at all. You can still put that on and get 50% plus one across the whole state for a statute.
Mm-hmm.
So if you
this
say,
is just a constitutional amendment.
This is only to change the state constitution. We are bumping up the threshold just a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't think we're bumping it up enough, to be really honest.
I'm with you there. And I think Scooter is making a fair point. Like, why make the distinction between a referendum petition or initiative petitions versus
the legislature
putting it on the ballot? I don't know. I mean, I don't think there's really any reason not to make that distinction. But this specifically addresses the issue with like outside interests coming in and kind of rolling everybody over.
Right, which we saw with the.
We elected our legislature.
Right. So that's give me 30. Now, should they probably be on the same one? Yeah, I'm fine with that. But this is at least a baby step in the right direction. For all of the promises of initiative petition reform the Republicans have given us over the past 3-4 years, this is better than nothing, but it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
So it is a little step in the right direction. But again, if you say this law is unjust or we think there ought to be a law for this, you can still do that and do 50% plus one across the state. It just isn't the Constitution. And then what happens is, for instance, years ago, you remember when the animal rights folks came in and basically disrupted the livestock industry with this was probably 20 years ago. Animal rights groups, they brought in Bob Barker and everything, and they had a big campaign, and it was a puppy mill thing, which, we had a terrible problem with puppy mills. But the way it was written, it actually encompassed a lot of livestock agriculture.
Ooh.
So, like, within a week or so of this passing, the governor, Jay Nixon at the time, and the legislature, they got together and said, we're going to fix this.
Mm-hmm.
And so they went and passed fixes to that law that had been passed in the referendum. And of course, the animal rights activists and a lot of those on the left were furious about democracy. But that's one of the checks and the balances on this. And really at that point, that's where you saw the left in particular, and I'm, again, not pejoratively, I'm just observing, that's when they said, well, wait a minute, if we've got to get the same number of votes for just a referendum versus a constitutional amendment, well, heck, then go get the constitutional amendment.
Right. And then the legislature can't come around and fix it.
And so now every special interest can take their money from anywhere and put enough money. Now, voters, we're responsible for what we do. It's still our vote. We're still the ones that do that. But when you've got tens or even $100 million or more pouring into something, special interests know that they can come in, buy their own constitutional amendment. And so it can't be for sale. This amendment, this was 4. I think it's just a little tiny step in the right direction, but let's take it because it should be just a little bit more to get a permanent constitutional amendment in the state.
We already have 126.
Right.
I just checked. 126 amendments to the Constitution.
And the U.S. Constitution has what? 27. Yeah. Okay, so the last minute or so here, Amendment 5. This is going to be in August. This is the income tax repeal question. So that means that's going to be in the headlines. 4 and 5 are what's going to be
the big ones.
Massive.
Yeah.
Massive, regardless of which direction you're on. These are massive. And then the pro-life Amendment 3 is obviously going to be in November.
Yep. It's a lot.
Boy, we thought this was going to be a quiet election cycle other than the local stuff.
No, sir.
Nope.
Now, that also means, though, as we're approaching this, time is running out, and that includes for Illinois lawmakers to pass some really terrible ideas. Yeah. We're going to highlight some of those of the worst at 6:35.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Our country was founded by geniuses, but it's being run by idiots.
On News Talk STL. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Tim Jones here for the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show, wishing you a very safe and blessed Memorial Day weekend. Remember the reason for the season: honor those who have given all so that we may be free.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking temperatures back towards the lower 80s. This afternoon, eventually going to be looking at some scattered chances of some showers and storms, some moderate downpours, a little bit of lightning going to be possible. Then into the evening and overnight hours, we dry back out by Wednesday, about midday to the afternoon hours. Once again, some scattered chances of some showers and storms looking to clear out. Then we're looking drier as we approach the upcoming weekend. Temperatures continue to last back towards the mid to lower 80s. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch.
Mike Ferguson here. Retirement should be a time you can relax. No more stress from work. But there's one thing you can't forget about when retiring. That's your money. Do you have enough saved to fund your income for life and keep up with inflation? How will you claim your Social Security benefits? And what about long-term care? The ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel is here to help answer all of these questions. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert, every Saturday morning at 9, right here on News Talk STL. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call 636-695-2650, 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Remember those magical moments in Mom's kitchen? The heavenly aroma of fresh baked cookies? At Trolley Stop Bakery in Chesterfield's Forum Shopping Center, our co-op of talented bakers has been perfecting that homemade magic for 4 decades. From the gooeyest cookies in town to custom pies, cobblers, and cakes, everything's made from scratch, just like Mom and Grandma's recipes. Need that perfect corporate gift? We ship our famous cookies nationwide. The Trolley Stop Bakery, 67 Forum Shopping Center, or TrolleyStopBakery.com. Because some traditions are too sweet not to share.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
The far left wants to destroy conservative values in America.
This is News Talk STL. Welcome home.
I love that you're starting your day off right with Mike Ferguson in the morning. It's your boy Joe Pags. Talk to you tonight. But now let's get back to Mike.
Okay, on the Missouri side of the area, as we were just talking about, the elections are local, but the referendums are statewide, and that's really what's going to be driving things. I mean, right here in the metro area, this race for St. Charles County executive is going to be huge.
What's going on 1 week from tonight?
That would be the debate for this. Mark it on your calendars. Also, the Democratic primary for St. Louis County executive is going to be a massive one as well, because we already know who the Republican nominee is going to be. That's going to be Dennis Hancock. Mm-hmm. And so those are the local ones that they're running, but statewide, that's where all the news is going to be on the Missouri side.
Yeah.
On the Illinois side, okay, it's all eyes on the last few days of the legislative session. Before then, the focus, I think, is going to turn to the governor's race.
Right.
And the governor's race is going to be a real David and Goliath kind of thing.
Very much so.
Nobody expects Darren Bailey to win the race, However, when you look at the voting patterns over the last couple of years and the fact that in not that distant of a past, Illinois has had Republican leadership.
Bruce Rauner was the governor up till before J.B. Pritzker.
Right. It's not...
No, he was a very moderate Republican.
Right, but there was an R. So it's not out of the realm of possibility, especially when you think that... there's a lot of conservative voters, Republican voters downstate who just don't show up.
Right.
Because they're constantly told there's no point. Well, if the message gets out that, well, no, there is kind of a point, then we'll see what happens with it.
Yeah.
So the race for U.S. Senate in Illinois is basically a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, I think
I'll be really honest. I don't even know who the Republican nominee is. I have no idea who it is. That's how irrelevant they are.
I think I've seen the name, and it escapes me. So, I mean, yeah, I don't think it's going to be a competitive race.
Yeah, that's how we're.
Yeah.
That's how irrelevant they are.
Oh, but I mean, just like in Missouri, those races right now aren't competitive for Democrats, so that's okay.
Right. Okay. So, but in the meantime, there's a few days left in the Assembly's session.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, obviously dominated by the far left Democrats. And we're now joined by Stuart McMillian. He writes for The Lion with our friends at Herzog Foundation, the Heartlander as well. Okay. So Stu, you wrote a couple of articles. I want to start with this one. Oh my gosh. Illinois lawmakers attempting to rush abortion, sex change bills in session's final weeks. We're down to the last few days on this. I'm reading through the bills that you're citing that they're putting. I wish I could put into words how demented some of this stuff is, but they're under the gun and you would think they could run the table on it. But is it so extreme that even in deep blue Springfield that they might even have problems getting that through? I mean, that's how bizarrely demented some of these bills are.
Yeah, you're right, Mike, and good morning. So looking at the article I did for The Lion, there's been a few updates since that article was released. So the Abortion Access Fund, that was 5408. So it was paid. It was a radical idea, this radical scheme to pretty much raid private health insurance companies and seize 90% of their excess funds to bankroll abortions.
Wow.
So this one right now is stalled. It hasn't had an update since April. So it doesn't look like this one's going to be talked about anymore this week. The fetal death certificates, that would strip away the humanity of the unborn by pretty much deleting fetal death certificate requirements for miscarriages before 20 weeks. That was sidelined as well. That hasn't really been talked about since April either. So those two that I was writing about, they haven't really gathered enough Democrats to push those through, but there are a couple other ones on the goal line. The Secure Act, it survived committee. It's sitting on the Senate floor right now for a final third reading vote. It aims to completely strip parental rights for minors under state care, paving the way for out-of-state foster placements based on child's self-declared gender identity, while aggressively cutting the biological parents out of the information loop. So the Senate will have a hard final deadline, of course, coming up on May 31st to vote on this. So they could be doing that anytime this week. That's one of those that's on the goal line right now.
Stuart, I realize that Democrats have a supermajority in Illinois, and they get to rule the day. I get that. What I guess I don't understand is, are there no moderate Democrats? Is it all just far left progressivism that's just holding sway? There's none, maybe throwing up some potential like, hey, maybe we shouldn't go quite this far with this legislation.
Yeah, I haven't been able to nail down any moderate Democrats to talk to about any of these bills, but they are out there. They're definitely out there. But there are so many Democrats jumping on. It's almost hard to keep track. There's so many Democrats jumping on these bills to be co-sponsors and to be cheerleaders for these bills that it's hard to find those that aren't doing it.
We're visiting with Stuart McMillian from both the Heartlander and also ReadLion.com, the Lion with our friends at Herzog Foundation. Okay, when I get sick and I need to go get some cough medicine, government tracks that. It tracks it in basically all 50 states here. You were writing about a proposal here, and if you want to get all wonky, it's House Bill 4834. Basically, this would exempt both the abortion pill and would exempt the essentially chemical gender stuff, so testosterone, estrogen. It would exempt that from the prescription drug monitoring database. So what is it that they're being argued on this? Because if I go get NyQuil, government tracks me and gets my photo ID on this. But you're saying that Democrats are saying, well, yeah, but this abortion pill and the gender ideology hardcore drugs, that those aren't going to be even tracked at this point?
Well, the Democrats are obviously falling in line with this idea that they want to keep all of these things secret. They want to keep abortion secret. They don't want anybody to know that folks are getting abortions through the mail. They don't want anybody to know that they're wanting children to change their sexual identity. This is kind of falling in line with the progressive side of things, and this has passed, and this will see the governor's desk for sure. It's a done deal. So you're talking about 4834, the Controlled Substances Act, and this, as you were saying, it completely guts transparency here by forcing this state to scrub and purge its database of all existing records regarding cross-sex hormones like testosterone and estrogen, and as well as abortion-inducing drugs like mifepristone. And this would happen by January 1st of next year. So they're literally erasing the state's tracking system to bury this medical data and keep the public completely in the dark on how many of these drugs are being used and how much of the cross-sex hormones that are being tracked. It's no longer going to be there. So if this is currently heading to Governor Pritzker's desk for his signature right now.
Okay, so just real quick follow-up on that. I know Susie's got one more question before we go. Would that mean that if they're scrubbing the records of it, that we're not going to be able to look and nobody's going to be able to investigate whether or not these were inflicted on minors? Is it just all of it being scrubbed on there? So one, the frequency of it would be one thing, at least the metadata would be gone, but then there'd be no way to see whether or not underage people were given these drugs.
Yeah, that's my understanding, is that they're going to wipe it all out.
You know, who's pushing this? Because there's actually pushback, I think, from the Illinois Hospital Association, which I think they have some technology concerns. Yeah. But who's pushing this? I mean, it's like, it seems such a strong push towards secrecy and I don't know, like, where is this coming from?
Try selling this in Mowequa. See how that goes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have like the big dark money names for you or anything on this, but I definitely could do a little research on who really wants this. I mean, obviously Democrats do. It seems like a ton of them are throwing their names on this. There's a long list on the bill.
Right side of history. Or something like that, right?
Something like that, yeah. Well, it's along with their ideology of saying that you need to not shame or blame or any of those effects when it comes to abortion or getting a sex change. So you shouldn't be able to tell them what they can do and not do. So this kind of falls in line with that idea.
Yeah, well, just wait for the attack ads against Pritzker on some of these laws, the way that's going to play across the flyover country come in the next election here as well. All right, Stu, what are we looking for last couple of days? I mean, you talk about these. Anything that's been updated since you published that article we need to watch in the last minute or so we've got?
Yes, let me tell you about one other bill, the Reproductive Health Records Privacy Act. This was another bill, I believe it's highly likely to have a vote this week. This one, it was forcing the electronic health networks to block out-of-state entities from seeing abortion data or these gender codes. I don't know if this is kind of in the weeds, but if you know about it, there's codes when you have health insurance to see what kind of drugs are being administered to kids and stuff. And so your health insurance, the only way to really see that is a code that goes through. That would be the only way for parents to really see what's going on. So this is one that has drawn massive friction. And I know you all were saying about the Illinois Hospital Association. They're warning against this as well because they're saying that the current technology wouldn't be able to, keep up with all of this tracking that they're wanting to do. But yeah, they're wanting to see that go through this week, and we're going to keep an eye on that as well. So that's House Bill 5295.
All right, Stuart McMillian. We've already tagged you on our social media. The Lion, Heartlander. We can check out both of them. People want to be in touch directly. Is just social media the best way to do it, or go right through readlion.com?
Yeah, I'm on X, Twitter, formerly known as Twitter, at Chat with Stu Mac, and you can go on there, and my email's on there. If you have any news tips or want to chat with me about anything and tell me how wrong I am, whatever, just put that on there.
All right, Stu, thanks so much, man. Really appreciate it.
All right, see you guys.
Thanks, Stu. We alluded to this a little while ago, but 1 week from today, June 2nd, NewsTalk STL, the Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise, and the St. Charles County Republican Central Committee are hosting a live debate at Lindenwood University at the J. Scheidegger Center for the Arts. It's the St. Charles County executive candidates. It's Jason Law, Bill Eigel, and incumbent Steve Ellman. They're going to take on questions from a panel well-versed in St. Charles County issues, including yours truly and Mike. All live on NewsTalk STL. Tailgate with us before the debate. Tim and Chris are going to be live from Lindenwood from 4 to 6 p.m. Doors open at 5:45. Program starts at 6:30. Debate begins live on NewsTalk STL at 7 p.m. It's sponsored by Mid-Rivers News Magazine and the Lewis and Clark Pachyderms Club. For all the information, go to newstalkstl.com.
All right, Jeff, for a challenge, how about this? How about learning some open water diving, maybe even just basic scuba diving? And you're thinking, we're in the Midwest, Mike. Nobody's scuba diving in the Mississippi River. No, you're not. But you can do it in St. Charles, believe it or not, with my friends at Great American Divers. Mike Ferguson here for Great American Divers, greatamericandivers.com. This is a veteran-owned business, by the way. And listen, this is a great challenge for yourself. This is a great maybe retreat for your friends or your family. What a great party this is going to be. But listen, if you're a scuba diver, whether you are beginner, intermediate, or expert, listen, this is where you want to go. GreatAmericanDivers.com in St. Charles. You can rent equipment there. You can have your equipment repaired there. You can get your tanks air-filled there. You can join them as they lead dive trips all over the world as well. It's not just in their pool here, but they go all over the world, and they can take you with them, and you can experience it for yourself. GreatAmericanDivers.com. They are in St. Charles. 10% discount, by the way, for active duty, veterans, and first responders. GreatAmericanDivers.com.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk. Live and local.
I need to know what's going on in my city.
News Talk STL.
Jamie Allman here, tossing and turning over retirement worries. You're not alone. 3 out of 4 Americans share your concern about having enough saved. But here's the thing. A comfortable retirement isn't out of reach, even if you're planning for 30 or 40 years ahead. Every day, Jeff Portman from the Gemini Wealth Group helps people avoid the critical mistakes that can derail their retirement. Build your path to financial confidence. Visit GeminiWealthGroup.com or call call Jeff directly at 314-888-0123.
Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor. Member FINRA SIPC.
Concerned about the condition of your windows driving up your energy bills? I was too. It's only called STL Windows and Doors. Their Provia windows combine old world craftsmanship the professional way, the Provia way, with over 65 years of combined experience, locally owned, offering competitive pricing and personalized service that the big box companies can't match. Call today for your free in-home estimate and start saving tomorrow. 314-277-5952 or stlwindowsanddoors.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey, folks, it's Chris Salcedo, your liberty-loving Latino on Newsmax. Hey, everybody likes Mike. Mike Ferguson in the morning, News Talk, STL.
All right, while you were barbecuing, we bombed more stuff in Iran.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Also, the left wing in Illinois, just a few days left to pass some really horrible ideas. That conversation we just had with Stuart McMillian, that's going to be up on our podcast here. You need to send that to your friends and family and even enemies if they happen to be on the right side of politics in Illinois. And remember that movie Up?
Yeah.
Yeah, the one with Doug, the golden retriever. He's the one that had that collar that spoke on it. Yeah. A company is claiming to have made that tech a reality.
I'm intrigued, but also scared.
Yes, 6:53. Let's go ahead and do ye old first news dump of the day here.
The Morning News Dump, brought to you by Whistle Pig Outdoors.
Successful dump. Wake up, America. It all worked out. They got all the news.
The Morning News Dump.
All right, U.S. strikes resumed on Monday. Military officials say Iranian missile launch sites in the southern part of the country were hit. CENTCOM says boats that were trying to place mines in the area were hit as well. The White House claims the strikes were, in their words, self-defense is what they had. Now, I have not heard of any other strikes that have happened since Monday at this point. And now you've also got the peace talks that are happening. I know Doha, they're meeting in some areas as well. So, that's going to be could be a little awkward, All right, let's talk peace. Hey, you just blew up my stuff. Yeah, you want to talk peace now?
We'll quit laying mines.
Yeah, so that's the update. Yeah, we'll see what happens with it. Okay, so President Trump, other officials paying tribute to fallen U.S. service members at Arlington National Cemetery on Memorial Day on Monday. The president says he mourns the loss of 13 U.S. service members in that conflict, in that war against Iran.
These incredible men and women gave their lives to ensure that the world's #1 state sponsor of terror will never have a nuclear weapon. Oh, and they won't. And,
of course, again, those peace talks happening in the region possibly as early as literally any minute now over in that side of the world. It could happen. All right. Oil prices obviously been volatile since the U.S. Went to war against Iran. Oil industry analyst Trilby Lundberg of the Lundberg Survey says gas prices likely will go up again in the near future.
We have low stocks. We have spring demand, and retailers are still reeling from the price hikes they received a couple of weeks back. They have not yet passed it through.
Okay, so the average price for a gallon of gas has actually gone down a little nationally and around here compared to, weeks ago. According to AAA, it's $4.49 as of early this morning nationally. In Missouri, the average price is $4.15, with the metro area prices ranging from, on average, $4.12 to $4.32. I have actually seen below $4 in the last couple of days, but those are the average prices. $4.32 in the city, of course. In Illinois, the statewide average price is $4.93, with Metro East prices ranging from $4.90 in Calhoun County to $4.95 in St. Clair County.
Still saw $3.99.
Yeah, I saw $3.99. Was that at Dorset?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I saw. Now I'm trying to pay attention when I'm driving in as well. All right, let's see here. Big election in Texas today. Let's jump down to that one here. Okay, so we've got the runoff that's happening in Texas, and the Republican primary is where everybody's looking at. Texas Senator John Cornyn trying to hold on to his seat after President Trump endorsed Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. And when asked why he thinks the president chose his opponent, Senator Cornyn was on Sunday Night America on Fox, and he said he thinks President Trump was getting frustrated with overall incumbents.
I've voted with him 99.3% of the time. I am an ally of the president. So unlike some of the other endorsements, this really isn't about me, I don't believe. But that's what the president decided to do.
And Ken Paxton asked the same question about that. He was on Fox and Friends this weekend.
He's been in office since I was in college, and I'm 63. So 42 years in office, I've been asking every voter, whether it's one voter or thousands, what has John accomplished that's good for the state of Texas or the country? And you know what? No one's ever had an answer.
And that's going to be decided today.
It's a fair argument.
Yep. All right. A tech company says they've created an AI-powered pet translator to tell you what your critter's actually saying.
I don't know if I want this.
China-based Meng Xiaoyi is selling the pet translator for about $118, and they've got over 10,000 pre-orders, according to published reports. According to the company, the collars will incorporate vocal patterns, overall behavior, and body language to determine what your pet is trying to say. Now, you may or may not be surprised to learn that the company has not cited any science to back up claims that pets barking and meowing can be translated into any human language.
I'm not going to be rushing right out to buy this for a number of reasons, not least of which is it's Chinese technology.
Right. Yeah. And the other questions are going to be, okay, well, what is it your pets would actually say?
I'm not sure I want to know.
Would you want to know?
Squirrel, 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 mailman, squirrel.
License number GL250000615.
You're cooking dinner. The lights go out. You flip the breaker and forget about it.
But what if it keeps tripping?
Trips once, your breaker's doing its job. Keeps tripping? That's a warning. Bad wiring or something worse.
Do people just keep flipping it?
Most do, until they can't anymore.
Call Grasser. We'll stop the trip.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
Are you tired of hard chlorinated water drying your skin out, tasting bad, and ruining your fixtures? Jones Air and Water Treatment has a solution to this pollution. Our Hydratech H2O leaves you with great tasting, soft water at all fixtures in your home with one unit. Call Jones Air and Water at 636-899-1040 or visit us on the web at joneswater.com. You can be a filter or buy a filter. Jones Air and Water, 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Perjury's not a thing anymore if you are testifying against Donald Trump.
Right, but they're under oath.
So was Cassidy Hutchinson.
You're right. No.
Cassidy Hutchinson was under oath.
No, you're right.
Saying
and she
that
lied.
Donald Trump grabbed the wheel of the beast when she wasn't even in the car. It was hearsay to begin with, and nothing happened to her. Nothing happened to Liz Cheney, who coached her.
You're learning my cynicism from me.
That's right. That's right.
Vic Porcelli, live and local, weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL. KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. Secretary of State Rubio says there are details yet to be ironed out in talks with Iran.
Speaking from India, Rubio says the sides are working on an outline.
Suffice it to say that some progress has been made, significant progress, although not final progress has been made.
Regional officials say the deal would gradually reopen the Strait of Hormuz and see the U.S. blockade of Iranian ports end. Iran would give up its stockpile of highly enriched uranium. At Arlington National Cemetery, President Trump mentioned those who were killed fighting Iran.
We lost 13 wonderful souls, wonderful, special people.
The president said there could be no 4th of July without America's armed forces, and there could be no Independence Day without Memorial Day. Ed Donahue, Washington.
And U.S. forces launched a new series of strikes on Iranian military targets. An evacuation order lifted for some of those evacuated from their homes near a chemical storage tank that was in danger of exploding. in Southern California.
It's not over yet. We still have work to do.
Orange County Fire Chief Craig Covey.
There's two things that we're going to be still doing operation on. Number one, we still have to mitigate a fire and very small explosion concern, and also a spill potential.
President Trump's endorsement has carried a good deal of weight in recent GOP primaries. Today we'll see how things go in Texas, where incumbent U.S. Senator John Cornyn is facing a runoff against Trump-endorsed Ken Paxton. The winner will face Democrat James Tallarico in the general election. From Texas to Georgia to the Carolinas, forecasters say that flash flooding is possible today. Much of the South swamped by torrential rains. And 4 people are dead after a train collided with a school bus in northern Belgium. On Wall Street, Dow futures 308 points higher. NASDAQ futures up 309. More on these stories at townhall.com.
If you want unlimited talk, text, and data on a super fast network, Big Wireless will sell it to you right now for as little as $70 a month. Or you can buy it from Pure Talk for half of that. I'm talking about unlimited talk, text, and data for just $34.99 a month. But wait, there's more. When you switch to Pure Talk, you'll be switching to an American wireless company that's committed to keeping 100% of its customer service in this country. I appreciate that. In fact, that's why I switched. I also appreciate the way they support our vets and our skilled workforce. Dial pound 250, say micro, and get unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data for just $34.99 a month. That's pound 250 micro. Stop paying twice what you need to pay for the service you want and switch to an American wireless company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Gotch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking temperatures back towards the lower 80s. This afternoon, eventually going to be looking at some scattered chances of some showers and storms. Some moderate downpours, a little bit of lightning going to be possible. Then into the evening and overnight hours, we dry back out by Wednesday, about midday to the afternoon hours. Once again, some scattered chances of some showers and storms looking to clear out. Then we're looking drier as we approach the upcoming weekend. Temperatures continue to last back towards the mid to lower 80s. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Gotch.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Business owners, download your free playbook for financial clarity at SerenityWealthBiz.com. That's SerenityWealthBiz.com.
Columbo here for my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton. The knowledgeable staff at Bluff City has served the St. Louis outdoor community for decades, and they can take care of all your bow hunting needs, all your trapping needs, all your fishing needs, and more. Plus, while you're there, you can schedule a trip with a local fishing guide and shoot in their archery range. Bluff City Outdoors is open 7 days a week, 1 mile east of Fast Eddie's at 2813 East Broadway in Alton. Follow them on Facebook and at BluffCityOutdoors.com.
Remember when food tasted like home? When breakfast was made from scratch and dessert was worth saving room for? At Shorty's Diner, we're serving up down-home breakfasts, lunches, and desserts just like Mom used to make. Fresh, from scratch, every single day. Step back in time with us, where the booths are cozy, Elvis is always in the building, and every plate feels like a hug. On Lackland and Westport, or online at shortysdiners.com. Shorty's Diner. It's not fancy. It's not fat-free. It's just the way it used to be.
Mike Ferguson.
I'm a stud. I'm ballsy. I don't take no from anyone.
Susie Moore.
I disagree on his assessment of the situation.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice. Drain the swamp and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Okay, I know that we're kind of easing back into the week after a long weekend. I get it, but I've got a weird question. It's not politics, it's not war, it's nothing like that. Weird question. Can a restaurant
What? Wait a second.
I mean, come on. The
what was that word again?
Restaurant.
Uh-huh.
Okay, can a restaurant rebrand itself to be family friendly?
I need you to elaborate on what that means.
We're talking about Hooters here.
Oh, like
And
chicken breasts. I got it.
Right. Yeah, that's it. I mean, you've got Hooters and what's the other one? Twin Peaks, and there used to be a couple of those. But Hooters is in bankruptcy because
I'm surprised it's taken this long.
Right. So now they're rebranding, and we're going to hear from the CEO from a second. He's like, no, it's really just about the theme and family friendly on this. So I saw that, I'm thinking, is that a little too much of a stretch for you at this point?
I mean, you could maybe make the argument that breasts are family friendly. I mean,
I'm just saying. I'll let you hear from him, and we can pick that apart here. All right, coming up on 7:07 right now. I mean, hopefully you did take a break over the weekend from everything. Now it's time to get caught back up on the news, and that, of course, is where redstate.com comes in. So, Susie, where should we start this week's reading?
This is the Red State Rundown.
Well, I can assure you that even though it was a holiday weekend, we were continuing to cover the news, the hot stuff, the stuff that was trending, and even some kind of off the beaten path stuff.
And you were confined in that office?
Well, I made my office the pool, but I did work. I worked all weekend long. So, first up from Ward Clark, we've got this Antarctic island has been there forever, and they just now found it. Oh. So, we're still discovering islands and stuff on our planet. That's kind of fascinating to know about. Ward is our, kind of our climate guy and our planet guy. So, check that one out if you want to know more about the new island that was discovered. We've got this VIP article from Bob Hogue. It's titled, "Have We Forgotten So Quickly?" And it's basically saying, hey, look, I know that people haven't gotten their way about everything. Maybe President Trump hasn't accomplished everything you wanted him to, but have you forgotten what it was like under Biden? So he kind of does a little, reflection back on that. Timely reminder. And then this one also from Bob. I'm going to try and get through this and not start crying. Yesterday was Memorial Day. There was a Gold Star wife who put out on Twitter on Sunday. She asked if someone who was going to be in the area in Arlington Cemetery could take a photo of her husband's grave. He's been dead for 20 years. And she just wanted to make sure that he was remembered appropriately yesterday. And the response was amazing.
Massive.
Amazing. So you might want to have a little tissue handy when you read this. It's going to probably make you tear up, but you want to go check this article out from Bob Hogue about this.
I haven't read Bob's article, but I saw that going on social media when I checked in for a little bit. I mean, people stepped up to do the heartwarming right thing like crazy. It almost restored my faith in humanity.
It was pretty amazing.
At least for a moment. Yeah, I'm just saying. All right, coming up on 7:09 right now. Okay. I'm treading lightly here. It's morning. I understand.
On a lighter note,
I understand that your kids are in the car, so we're not going off the rails here or anything like that. But Hooters went into bankruptcy last fall or something like that. Last summer, last fall. So they've been in bankruptcy, and they're going to be closed. I guess they're going to close a bunch of restaurants. I don't know about the ones in the St. Louis area, what's going to be affected or what's not there. But it's funny because you remember when Hooters first became a thing, and there were immediately some controversies.
Well, yes.
Because there were some dudes who tried to play the gender discrimination thing, and they wanted to be hired as waiters at Hooters, and they're like, yeah, no, that's not the vibe we're selling.
Well, and that came later. I mean, that came after Hooters was well established for its, yes.
And it first came around, and it was, I mean, there's probably been other restaurants that have done this before them, but as far as a national chain goes, they were the first ones that said, we're going to have pretty girls in skimpy outfits bringing you your food and your beer. And that was the whole thing.
And we're going to acknowledge that that's exactly what we're doing.
Right. Well, now they're saying that, we've gotten away from our family-friendly roots. I'm thinking, when was that? Now, I will say, by comparison, I've always thought Hooters was kind of tame. I never thought Hooters was really that big of a deal.
It is.
Myself.
I would agree. I mean, it wouldn't be like the end of the world to bring your kids there. It's not.
I have seen kids at Hooters many times.
Exactly.
I've seen whole families there. It's not. I've always thought it was fairly tame.
Right. Is it Red Robin? No, but.
No, exactly. And I've been into a couple of Hooters where there is nothing alluring or sexual whatsoever at all. I was in, I think, the world's worst Hooters in Fairview Heights a few weeks ago. Some of my
this is our listening area, so I'm just going to not say anything else. I don't want to offend anybody.
The food was tasty. It just took an hour to get there.
I always thought Hooters food was not that great.
I do say the joke is you go there for the wings. The wings are good. But
I don't like wings.
Oh, well, there you go. See, the food was fine. took forever to get there. But the funny part is my teammates and I, that was the sports bar that was near us after our game. So these guys, I mean, we go when none of us are worried about chasing, but we walk around and let's just say that the branding that Hooters has become accustomed to, they weren't exactly fulfilling it.
Okay.
I mean, it's like we walk in and we're like, huh. And I observed, I said, if any one of these waitresses goes to a party and somebody says, so what do you do? And their answer is, I'm a Hooters girl. The answer would be, no. So what do you really do? Just saying.
I have thoughts I'm just not going to share right now. Bringing up a sore subject.
Okay, so anyway, the CEO of I'm going to hear it in the break here in just a little bit, probably. Okay, the CEO is Neil Kiefer. That's his name, and so he says they're rebranding. You know, listen, when you're in bankruptcy, you got to do something different.
Sure.
So they're rebranding.
They had taken the Hooters girls' uniforms, over-sexualized it, I call it. The shorts almost turned into thongs. And frankly, that was never the intent of the brand. This was created in 1983 as an escape or an oasis. You know, it's a beach community. It's a beach-themed type of thing here in Clearwater. So that was very upsetting. And of course, today on social media, when you see pictures of people wearing the uniform, it appropriately affects other markets and affected us. So we just wanted to rectify it, get the brand back to its roots. I call it a re-Hooterization.
So it's all a beach theme. We just missed it all these years. It's just a beach theme.
Those bright colors, like the bright orange.
Right.
Like a beach ball-ish, kind of, sort of. That's a nice try, Neil.
Yeah, I don't think you're rebranding this.
No. I mean, I don't know what else to say. It's like it's not a secret what the main allure of Hooters is supposed to be. It's kind of right there in the name.
Right.
Hello.
And their original logo. I mean, it's
the owl was just a disguise.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Well, I've got a couple ideas that might help them out. Instead of going with the beach theme, just get some like chicken masks. So keep the outfits, put some chicken masks on, give them some feathered wings, and I mean,
feel like that would terrorize people.
Yeah, really. That would be scarier for the little kids.
But you're
and then they're eating chicken, and you got like chickens. I don't know.
Yeah, and they watch while they do the chicken. No, because you do when you have your terror reflex kick in, then your adrenaline goes up. You start to sweat. You make a little bit more room in your tummy. You get hungry when it wears off.
You really thought this through.
Well, no bad ideas. If you're already going through bankruptcy, I'm saying I could be a consultant.
Now, here's what's interesting is because for a long time the thought was, well, if there's anything that sells, it's going to be attractive women, for nothing else. And they're in bankruptcy, and I think there has been a few other restaurants that have gone in the same thing, and they've come and they've gone. So if you're not delivering affordable food that's pretty tasty, eventually it doesn't matter who's bringing it to your table.
Correct. I mean, I feel like that's always been like the weakness of Hooters. Is I never thought their food was all that great. So it's like, okay, if you don't have great food and the original draw is kind of like,
Well, okay, so Chuck E. Cheese, for example, their pizza's terrible. Their food's awful.
It is awful.
Oh, they got games.
Yeah.
But they have, so that's what I'm saying. So you, instead of Hooter Girls, you could have Hooters animatronics. Still keep the outfits, just
like
robots.
fembots.
Yeah, like the Austin Power fembots, dressed like the Hooters people. I still think that the chicken
I
mask
think that's gonna scare the heck out of people.
And then you have to find what would be like cornhole,
Like-
like barbecue style games, right? What do you people play when they eat chicken?
Yeah.
So basically, you're like saying market to incels.
Yes. Okay. Well. Okay. So let's. Okay. So Chuck E. Cheese, you have a
That's
literal
not family
rodent.
friendly.
You have a literal rodent and a hodgepodge of other weird beings watching you eat pizza, and people still bring their kids there. So why can't Hooters do the same thing?
I'm not saying they can't go with the animatronics. I'm saying that the whole chicken head thing is gonna freak people out.
It's got to be a chicken head or an owl head. It could be an owl head.
The owl head.
I don't know.
But do you bring back something that's built decades of their branding on? Literally on short shorts and cleavage, and you say, okay, we're going to rebrand. You're going to think of Hooters as the family-friendly place. I mean, what are they going to do? They're going to market saying, listen, after church on Sunday.
Maybe. We've got another event coming up for you we wanted to let you know about. Join us for Tim and Chris Live from 4 to 6 p.m. on Wednesday, June 3rd. They are going to be at the Republican Central Committee of St. Louis County Open House at 794 Bradway Bluffs Drive. See the headquarters, meet members of the Central Committee, and enjoy light refreshments while Tim and Chris do the show.
must depart, no destination. Making cold my heart to fight your war. Stop it right now. I have had enough of this. Turn my eyes to your indifference.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I like it, but they're going a little overboard with the dancing.
On News Talk STL.
Get up, in case you hear the alarm.
Columbo and Company.
Join us every day for conversations with a wide variety of guests as we keep you informed and up to speed on all the important news and headlines you need to know.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum-sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
No pain, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Democracy is loud, and on Tuesday, June 2nd, you can be right in the middle of it. News Talk STL is bringing the St. Charles County Executive Primary Debate to Lindenwood University in St. Charles at the J. Scheidegger Center for the Arts. No reservations, no tickets, just show up. Can't make it in person? Catch every word live on News Talk STL from 7 to 8:30 p.m. The St. Charles County Executive Primary Debate on June 2nd. Brought to you by the St. Charles County Republican Central Committee, Mid-Rivers News Magazine, Lewis & Clark's Pachyderms Club, and the Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University.
Dreaming about a vacation but not sure where to start? Should you book that all-inclusive resort or a cruise? Which destination? What cruise line? And how do you know you're getting the best value? That's where Magic Expeditions comes in. We're your St. Louis local travel experts, helping you choose the vacation that fits. Whether a relaxing adults-only escape, family-friendly resort, or unforgettable cruise adventure, skip the stress, the guessing, and endless online searching. Visit magicexpeditions.com. That's magicexpeditions.com.
Thanks for taking my call.
News, analysis, opinion.
Radio news junkie. Love every bit about it.
News Talk STL.
Oh, okay.
Nope.
Hello.
There goes the music.
Welcome back.
All right, there we go. Okay, so fraud is widespread. Okay, now we probably don't know how bad it is yet when it comes to identity theft and just waste and fraud and people enrolling gun program. What was it? Just last few days, right before the holiday, there was another story of a whole bunch of, it was like along the lines of the Minnesota and California stuff, just people being enrolled in these government programs. I'm losing track of them.
We had so many stories that I couldn't, I think we talked about that on Friday. Like I just did a search on our front page of fraud over the last 30 days. And it was
crazy.
It was way, way too many to keep track of.
Yeah. So there's obviously the massive systematic, whether it's, just live people enrolling in programs knowing they're never going to get vetted or checked and they're just cashing the checks. That's what we seem to be seeing in Minnesota and California. And then there's others who are figuring out like widespread ways to do identity theft. Jerome actually saw an opening for bad guys to do that in a really innocent situation. You were telling me this morning, I'm like, okay, you got to tell that story. What is it? Tell people what you saw.
So I was looking for some bookshelves. I'm trying to spice up my apartment a little bit. And I went to an estate sale because usually you get some really good deals.
You can. Absolutely.
So this was the last day of the estate sale. They were doing like the whole half off, take as much with you as you can type thing. And I'm just wandering around this person's home, and there was an area where it had like all of like the jewelry, all of the like purses. There was a guy and his wife. I don't know if they're both deceased or not, but a lot of purses, a lot of wallets, a lot of just clothing. And there were people, they sounded British. I don't know, I didn't talk to them very much, but they were going through the pockets of all of the everything. They were opening the purses, they were going through everything, and they found this guy's wallet. And it had his social security number in it, it had his ID in it, it had his credit cards in it, it had other forms of like identification in there. And so immediately when I'm peeking over from the side, and you could tell that moment of like, oh, we found something, and then it was like, oh, don't draw attention to it.
Oh.
It was one of those types of things. And so myself hearing that, I'm like, I look over a little bit because, nice wallets and stuff. And I see them and they're going through this guy's wallet and they're looking at all the identification. So I nudge the person next to me just to make sure I'm not like, whatever. And the person looks over as well. And they're that look of like, okay, that does not seem like this should be part of the sale. Like you shouldn't be able to buy people's identification. So the person asked him like, so what do you have there? What did you find? And they're like, oh, well, they didn't do a very good job going through everything. We found these identification. I can't do a British accent very well, but we found these identification cards. So we want to make sure that nobody else gets a hold of this. So they were like pulling them out, and they were like, we're going to make sure that the person knows that these were left in there. There might be more. And so I didn't see if they had anything with them to go check out. But later on, I went downstairs. I figured, okay, maybe they are trustworthy. I'm not in the estate sale community, so I don't know what the protocol is.
And there is an estate sale community.
Oh, there absolutely.
There are like circuits.
Actual groups with massive followings.
Yeah.
So later on, I find the stuff I wanted to buy, and I go and I talk to the guy, and I just said, hey, it slipped my mind in the moment. I don't know why I didn't think of that, but there was a couple here, and they sounded British. They were the only people here that sounded British. And they said, they found these cards, these identification things in a wallet that was in like a jacket or something like that. And they said they were going to come bring it to you, not to worry about that. And he was like, well, I don't recall anybody turning over any information to me. And they got me thinking. So I'm like, okay, I don't know what you could do, but when we hear about student loans with dead people, social security fraud, all these sorts of fraud, if you're not checking the stuff before it goes to these places, and you're not making a good enough job making sure that you have all the identifiable stuff, how much more common this could be. So then I asked a few people that they do a lot more of the garage selling stuff, and they said you would be surprised by how many times we go to an auction and there's like a lot of 10 purses, and you bid on the entire lot, you have no idea what you're going to get, and then when we're going through it, you'll find people's identification there.
Yeah. And by the way, the estate sales, you don't have to die to have your stuff sold in an estate sale.
Oh.
You can be in hospice, you can be in a retirement home, you can be in memory care, and then
it's
the
just
family
a fancy
comes
way
in.
of saying garage sale.
It's just garage sale where you get to go inside.
Now, there was a little bit more of a nicer note to that, is that there was somebody that did find like a wad of cash in one of the purses and did go and turn it in and say, hey, I wouldn't feel right keeping this. It looks like, some money. So there are some honest people out there, but apparently there is a protocol around that within the community, but it's more rampant. People when I pointed that out, I'm like, well, I don't know why I didn't think of it in the moment.
I'm sure.
And they're like, well, no, you would be
of it.
surprised. People will go to garage sales and they will specifically go out of their way to try to find this stuff.
People go to garage sales and steal stuff.
Which is
bad enough.
I know. It's like, come on. I actually had my own experience with fraud over the weekend.
What happened?
Yeah.
I didn't know, this is the first time hearing of it.
I forgot about it until you mentioned it. Got an alert on my one credit card that said, hey, there's a suspicious transaction here. And sure enough, there were 3 transactions, all of them for $50 or so ish, all of them in the St. Charles area.
Oh, wow.
All on the same day. And they're like, is this you? I'm like, nope.
Yep.
And there was one in the morning that was me. So they're sending me a new card. They had to shut that one off.
Oh,
and
that is such a pain in the
think
butt.
I know what the source of it is. I need to do some sleuthing, but boy, is that frustrating.
And then back to what you were saying about you don't have to be dead to have an estate sale. I mean, so if this individual is still alive, because I don't know anything about these people. They had some nice furniture though, but it could totally be possible that this might be somebody in hospice right now who did not think to bring whoever the loved one was that's listing their stuff.
Right.
And so this could be potentially an active credit card out there.
Oh,
right.
Yeah, absolutely. It could.
Wow.
It could. Yeah. I mean, it's
just a reminder to go through everything before you put it up for sale.
Right. And like, for instance, I told you guys that I had a fraud thing happen on my debit card. So when I went down to Puerto Rico to play in that baseball tournament, I came back and about, I don't know, not even a week later, a few days after I got back, I checked my bank accounts pretty regularly, and I saw that there was like $1,500 gone.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. And it was purchased. 2 great big purchases were made in Baltimore at an IKEA. Well, the only thing that I used my debit card one time because on my connecting flight was in Baltimore. And I had one stop where we bought lunch there. I bought a sandwich and a bottled water at one, and that was the only time that card came out of my wallet was at the airport in Baltimore.
Yeah.
So whoever it was that took my card and ran that, would be the person who took the information and either went to IKEA on a shopping spree on my stuff or sold it to somebody. But that's the only way that it could have been. But here's the thing, though. It's fairly low risk because I'm not calling the detectives reporting it. You know what? I got the money back. It took a couple weeks. I got it back. They ended up getting free stuff because of fraud, because it's not as high risk as it should be.
It's true.
Well, and there is something that I know a lot of the younger people do. This is why I will never use a debit card when I go through a drive-thru, is that they will have their phone that will be live streaming when they're taking orders at a McDonald's or Taco Bell. I don't want to name any one brand. You give them the phone or you give them your card, and then there's an issue with the machine. So they're holding one side over the phone that's recording, or they have somebody taking down the numbers. We'll flip it over to check to make sure that the card's okay. Then they run it, suddenly it works again, and then now they have both sides of your card.
Yeah, use cash in the drive-thru if you can.
Oh, absolutely.
Without a doubt.
Or an app.
Or an app, use their app. Yeah, you can do, like, a lot of them have the apps. Now, that's another reason to do that.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy for people to do it.
I know. I mean, you don't think about it, but you're exposing that information a lot. But I'm 90% sure I know what the source of it is, and I'm going to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah.
I got your back, Susie.
All right.
You say 3 different purchases around $50?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because a lot of times what they'll do is they'll do a couple purchases that are really tiny.
Yes.
Just to see if you're watching.
Yes.
But then you get into the other stuff and you're looking at the widespread
I didn't catch it.
system.
My credit card company caught it and alerted me. And it was so strange to me because they were not crazy purchases and they were in the area that I live. So what it was that flagged it for them, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm like thankful.
Yeah.
Well, and there is I'm not trying to give anybody ideas, but there are places where if they RFID your card, so it's like the tap to pay stuff, they can get your card information, or if they have like those like skimmers that people will put over the. So they know you've already been there. They know what these transactions will show up like. And so if they have your information, they might try a small thing just to see if it works. Then you're not going to question it because you're like, well, maybe there was a service fee. Maybe I did buy something at the gas station.
Well, interestingly enough, none of these 3 places are places that I actually have been to. They just are in the area that I live. Yeah.
Well, there are now, what was it, the Better Business Bureau and one of the other places were warning about these RFID card readers.
Yeah.
To where they just have to walk next to you, accidentally bump into you. Oh, excuse me, I'm so sorry. And if they can get close enough that they can read those chips through your wallet or through your purse or through your handbag or through your pocket.
Yeah.
So even that is really easy. And we're talking like small town, like small time petty type thieves.
Right.
For the large scale stuff, that's a whole different thing. You're talking about systemic, but the bottom line is that there are probably what we would consider normal people out there engaging in this because they can.
There's sketchy people out there is what there are.
Well, from what I've gathered as well, it comes down to people that ride buses a lot because you have all these different people. If you're on the train, if you're on the bus, you can accidentally bump into a bunch of people and take their identification, because people are on their phone.
Sketchy people on the train, really?
I know, right?
Oh,
on
the metro?
Another one is when people will do gigs if they want to pay you to do a gig. So this one almost happened to somebody I used to do freelance work with. Is that the individual that was supposed to pay us did the whole tap to pay for the card for like Venmo or for one of these apps, and when they touched the phone, I don't know how the technology works, but when they did that thing, that's how they ended up getting her information. And then they tried to use her card to pay us with our own money.
Yeah,
it's like what you don't think we're gonna figure that out? So,
well, there's a lot of corrupt, fraudulent people out there. You gotta watch your back.
Yeah, yep, exactly. So, yeah, I mean, I just thought that when you were telling me the story, I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
On there. Just here's the bottom line is downsize so your kids don't have to deal with that if you can possibly do it.
At least like keep your goods in a different, you know what I'm saying? Just have a designated area like, hey, honey, in case something happens to me, here's the code to my vault or something.
Hey, also those credit monitoring services, absolutely worth it.
Oh, yeah.
Totally worth it.
Yep. Now, what should it take to end the war against Iran? We'll get Congressman Bob Onder's thoughts on that coming up here at 7:35.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
He picked the wrong schoolyard to come into, I have to tell you this.
On Newstalk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Meteorologist Chance Scotch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking temperatures back towards the lower 80s. This afternoon, eventually going to be looking at some scattered chances of some showers and storms. Some moderate downpours, a little bit of lightning going to be possible. Then into the evening and overnight hours, we dry back out by Wednesday about midday to the afternoon hours. Once again, some scattered chances of some showers and storms looking to clear out. Then we're looking drier as we approach the upcoming weekend. Temperatures continue to last back towards the mid to lower 80s. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Goss.
Hanson's Tree Service at hansonstree.com is your one-stop shop for expert insured tree care and more in the greater St. Louis region and at the Lake of the Ozarks. Visit hansonstree.com for 24/7 emergency tree care, grinding and land clearing, awesome organic mulch, green resource recycling, and more. Tim Jones here to tell you that whether you're dealing with old man winter at your home or business in the St. Louis region or preparing your lake home for spring, call Hanson's to help you out. No job too big or too small. Mention NewsTalkSTL. Receive 10% off all tree care services. hansonstree.com. hansonstree.com.
Larry Connor's Commentary, brought to you by Vincent's Jewelers, offering a wide selection of jewelry, including lab-grown diamonds, affordable earrings, bracelets, necklaces, and rings, up to 75% off their natural counterparts. Visit Vincent'sJewelers.com. This is Larry Connor's Commentary on News Talk STL.
Today, Thomas Massie is trying to remain a Kentucky congressman. He's held office since 2012. Trump calls the Republican the worst congressman in history. And Massie says every time Trump condemns me, I get more campaign money. But what will the vote show? Louisiana Senator Bill Cassidy learned you cross Trump, you could end your political career. The two-term U.S. Senator, one of 7 Republicans who voted to impeach Trump based on January 6th. This last weekend, Cassidy came in 3rd in the Louisiana primary. Fellow Louisiana GOP Senator Kennedy said the writing was on the wall. Trump is already endorsing one of the remaining Republicans, but Senator Kennedy said, I'm not getting involved unless one of them says something about my mama. And Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen said the political winds are blowing strong enough, Democrats will reclaim the House. I'm thinking Democrats will fail, but don't take my words for it and think I don't need to vote. You make sure you vote. Van Hollen says you and other Trump supporters, you are a cult. A cult? A cult? Trump won with 77 million votes. That is one hell of a cult.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
Dozens of out-of-state law firms are crashing into St. Louis trying to get your business. My advice, rely on a hometown firm. Onder Law has been here for years. There are lawyers raising their families right alongside yours. And when you're injured by someone's careless actions, you are entitled to full compensation. You want lawyers who will not bend to big insurance, but will stand defiantly protecting you. Onder Law, O-N-D-E-R, onderlaw.com. Onder wins.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common-sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros and Exteriors, your all-in-one service team that brings years of experience and quality that's affordable right to your doorstep. Christine and I discovered Gutter Pros and Exteriors when we bought our home and inherited a gutter problem. And they've also repaired siding damage on our home because along with gutter repair, gutter installation, and leaf protection, the Gutter Pros team are also the best for repairing other exterior damage, including fascia, soffit, and all siding repair and installation. Learn about all the ways Gutter Pros and Exteriors can help your home or business right now at gutterpros.com.
The news and talk.
I'm optimistic that during the summer we will see gas with a 3 in front of it sooner rather than later.
That matters to St. Louis.
The energy prices, while painful, are not going to be around forever.
This is 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
The Mike Ferguson Show is one of my favorite programs. In addition to Larry Connors USA, catch my program at 6. Now, back to Mike.
Okay, as we mentioned in the news dump just a little bit ago. U.S. military hit several Iranian targets on Monday. Boy, that's going to make those peace talk meetings a little awkward.
I think they were already going to be awkward.
They were going to be awkward, yeah. Oh, so where do we go from here? We are now joined by Congressman Bob Onder. So, Bob, we've only got some basic details from from what CENTCOM and what the White House and Department of War is telling to media. Have you been briefed on anything beyond the basics? We hit some missile launching sites, some boats or ships that we believed were laying some more water mines out there were hit. Do we have any new information since Monday?
Yeah, right now, good morning. It's great to be back. Yeah, that is what I have as well. As over the weekend and as recently as early yesterday, President Trump had been optimistic that the talks with the Iranians were going well, that maybe there was a deal imminent, although the president indicated he wasn't in a hurry. He wanted to get the right deal. Yes, and then yesterday there was an exchange of fire later in the day. The U.S. sank 2 Iranian ships that it said were attempting to lay mines in the Strait of Hormuz. And then Iran responded by launching some surface-to-air missiles at U.S. planes. And then we hit back at missile launchers in southern Iran. So, I have not had any confidential briefings. That's about all we know. But as you said, it does not... we're told that the ceasefire continues, but that's a heck of a ceasefire.
Well, Bob, obviously,
I think they've had to change the definition of ceasefire.
It's a loose definition. It's a loose definition.
Very loose.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, the part of the problem here is you're getting information from multiple sources on social media, and obviously no one knows what's going on behind closed doors, that sort of thing. But it's clear that the president would like there to be a deal, but what does that need to look like in order for us to be, confident that A, the Iranians are going to stick to it, and B, that it was worthwhile to obtain?
No, 2 very good questions. I mean, certainly reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, resumptions of tanker traffic through that critical area are important. Iran cannot set up a toll booth and decide who gets to come and go and how much, duty they have to pay to the Iranians. And I think, of course, from the beginning, the goal has been that Iran not have a nuclear weapon. I don't think we know exactly to what extent, or at least I don't know exactly to what extent Iran's nuclear capability is diminished. Ideally, a deal would include Iran relinquishing all their enriched uraniums. And then the president over the weekend threw another idea into the mix that somehow the Iranian deal would include an extension of the Abraham Accords, which, as your listeners remember, was the 2020 deal brokered by the U.S., President Trump, and signed by the U.S., Israel, the UAE, and Bahrain, which normalized relations between those nations and really further isolated Tehran in many ways. It would seem after the current conflict, perhaps an extension of the Abraham Accords might perhaps even be further off. But yes, exactly what's going on behind closed doors and what the ideal deal would look like, I guess, remains to be seen.
We are visiting with Congressman Bob Onder, and I know that this is kind of just in the process here at this point, because I want to ask you about this lunatic who fired shots at the White House over the weekend. But the Department of Homeland Security, the reconciliation, the funding kerfuffle that's still happening in D.C., what's the status on that, and is there anything this week we should be watching for?
Right. This is an ongoing, fight. This, we look back in December, we Republicans passed most of the budget. The Democrats refused to fund the Department of Homeland Security. And then about a month ago, on April 30th, Congress with, I believe, only Republican. No, I guess we needed Democrat votes in the Senate. We passed an extension of Homeland Security funding except for ICE and Border Patrol, ending a record 76-day Democrat shutdown. Now, the idea was then we could pass a reconciliation bill that would finish the job and fund ICE and Border Patrol. The idea was that would be a, quote, clean bill. That would be all that bill would do, would be to fund ICE and Border Patrol. And then we had a couple of hiccups when the president wanted to include the $1 billion for White House security and Secret Service. And then last week when he announced he'd like to include a $1.776 billion fund to make whole those who were harmed by the Biden weaponization of government. So with that, the Senate Republicans said, we've had enough, and they went home last week without passing that reconciliation bill. Both the Senate and the House are on district work recess this week, so I'm not sure what might develop this week. Look, I think the Senate ought to come back and finish the job and do their job. But yes, right, as we speak, ICE and Border Patrol, they're being funded by money we passed last summer in the One Big Beautiful Bill. But this is a ridiculous way to pass a budget, and unfortunately, the Democrats, in their solicitousness for illegal aliens, rather shut down the government than fund the great men and women who secure our borders and enforce our immigration laws.
Bob, Mike alluded to this, and we covered it at Red State. There was this disturbing incident with another person trying to take shots at the White House, near the White House. It seems to have kind of become a regular thing now, and obviously that underscores the importance of security, of national security, of Secret Service, of some of these federal law enforcement that is funded by some of the things that are still up for debate. Where do we go from here on that? I mean, there's two components to it. There's the funding and security issue, and then there's also the why are there so many crazy people taking shots like this? Yes. I mean, look, I think we can. We don't know much about the shooter on Saturday. Clearly he was shooting at the White House, and Secret Service returned fire and killed him. But I would assume it's another leftist lunatic motivated by hatred of Donald Trump and Republicans. It's a really sad state of affairs. Over the weekend, Todd Blanche, in replying to a lawsuit by a historic preservation group that didn't like the fact that Trump is rebuilding the East Wing of the White House, he pointed out that this all the more emphasizes the need for a secure space on the White House grounds, including protection against things like drones, attacks from above, like missiles, ballistic glass, and so on. And we just don't have that in any event space in Washington, D.C., at least not a larger event space. Whether that should be part of a reconciliation bill is a whole different issue, but I think we have to be all the more vigilant. Certainly many of us members of Congress are a lot more vigilant right now about our own personal security than we were, say, a year ago.
Our Congressman Bob Onder just got a minute or so left. Kind of, I guess, more of the less partisan stuff, but more of the infrastructure stuff. The Build America 250 Act. This has to do with highways and just overall improvement of the national infrastructure. This is a big deal as far as the amount of money spending and the way that our infrastructure is changing. What is it that we need to look for regarding the Build America 250 Act?
Yes, the Build America 250 Act, it's also often called the Highway Bill or the Surface Transportation Bill. It's a bill that needs to be passed every 5 years so that the various federal projects that build our roads and our transportation infrastructure can continue on. And I have to say that this was an example of government working as it was supposed to work. The transportation bill does not actually expire until September 30th, and we got our work done in May. But, of course, it goes on to the Senate. The Build America 250 Act included permitting reform, deregulation, rolling back a lot of Green New Deal nonsense that was passed in Biden's infrastructure bill known as the IIJA Act. It included new fees on electric vehicles. EVs use our roads. They don't pay gas tax right now, so they're not paying into the Highway Trust Fund. So I think that was a good provision. Two really important features for Missouri are that the bill is going to put more money through the so-called formula funding, where money goes directly to the states to do projects as they see necessary, rather than federal bureaucrats controlling which projects get built. And in the bill, there's a big emphasis on bridges, and Missouri has more bridges than any other state in the union, and many of them are in bad need of repair. So I think it was a good product. There were some things in it that I didn't want to see. There were some things I would have liked to have seen, but overall, I think it was a good bill. I supported it in committee. Will likely support it as well on the floor.
Okay, but it is going to the full floor now, right?
I apologize. Yeah, we passed it out of committee on Wednesday night, Thursday morning. I think it was at about 2 a.m. and it will go to the full floor.
Okay, got it. Congressman Bob Onder, as always, great chat with you again. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks, Bob. Coming up, we're going to do that segment that we do every week. It's about time. It's about looking backwards, seeing what's in the rearview mirror, and then also like what's the days are, the national days of the week coming up this week. Did you know there's a National Cellophane Tape Day?
I was.
Yeah, we know they're obscure,
and I didn't get anybody a card yet.
Yeah, well, you've got time. You've got time. Well, I'll tell you more about that coming up at 7:50. Susie Moore here to talk to you about flooring. That's right, Michael's Flooring Outlet. They're a locally owned and operated family business for more than 30 years, so you know you can count on them. I've used them in the past. I had a great experience with them, and you will too. If it's variety that you're looking for, well, Michael's has it. They've got carpet, they've got hardwood, natural stone, luxury vinyl, ceramic tile, laminate, you name it, they've got it. Plus, with Michael's, you know your installation is going to be done right the first time because it's being done by the experts at Michael's, not just a random subcontractor. With Michael's, you get the best combination ever. You get great quality and great value. So if you're thinking it is time for new flooring for you, go check out Michael's. You can shop in store at one of their 3 locations, on Olive and Creve Coeur, on Town Square in Darting Prairie, or on Main Street in St. Peters, or you can shop from the comfort of your own home. Just go online to igotfloored.com.
This year, America turns 250, and NewsTalkSTL is celebrating our nation's semi-quincentennial all year long. NewsTalkSTL, #1 for live and local Soros-free talk, with proud supporters of our 250th birthday celebration. Duchenne High School, Moolah Yomo, and Mobile Magic Auto Body. 250 years strong, and we're just getting started. 101.9 and 94.1 NewsTalkSTL.
Tim Jones here from my great friends at Comprehensive Chiropractic, the premier chiropractic and sports performance facility in the region. How do I know? Simply put, they've helped me on many occasions. Here's another solution to your everyday aches and pains. The Studio Health and Wellness Center. Services include Pilates and yoga, both with certified instructors. I can also highly recommend the massage therapy, which is not an indulgence. It's a proven method of healing and restoration. Trust my friends at Comprehensive Chiropractic in Eureka. cchiropractic.com. That's cchiropractic.com.
I'm Congressman Bob Onder, and you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
Maybe a 4 on the Susie dance scale there.
Yeah. Got me moving.
Do you know who this is?
No.
Eddie Van Halen's son, Wolfgang.
Oh, okay.
And his band.
Very nice.
It's actually on my pregame playlist.
I approve.
Yes, good stuff here. All right, so we obviously are looking at what's happening in the news right now.
Yeah.
what's coming down the pipeline. Like we're just talking about Congressman Onder. But it's amazing how things dissolve from our memory so fast.
Yeah, really quick. Mm-hmm.
I mean, what was it? We were talking about something that happened last week, and you're like, that was just last week. I thought that was years ago.
Exactly. Yeah, our concept of time has really gotten skewed lately, I think.
Yeah.
Really has.
So we're playing around. We'll just put it out there. We're playing around with an idea here of every once in a while, like once a week or so, and just say, okay, what happens if we look back just a little bit?
Right.
And it might put some of the stuff that's happening now in perspective.
It's like our own version of the hot tub time machine. Kind of, sort of.
There it
Only
is.
without the hot tub.
All right. So let's delve into that.
Okay.
What do we have for this week?
So I wanted to look back like a year ago. What was going on in May of 2025, right? Okay, one of the biggest discussions was Trump's trip over to the Middle East. He was there with Saudi Arabia. There was a lot of discussions, and there was a lot of contrast between his trip and the Biden trip. Remember when Biden went and was like begging them not to screw with oil prices ahead of the midterms, that sort of thing. Very, very stunning contrast between the two presidencies. So that was big. The South African refugees controversy was big.
Oh, right.
Right. Because, of course, the United States was admitting in people from South Africa as refugees, and right in the middle of all of the immigration, restrictions and that sort of thing. So there was a little push on that.
And if I remember right, and tell me if I'm right or if I'm wrong about this, is that some of the consternation was that who was getting run out of South Africa?
Right.
It was the
white farmers.
It was the white landowners and the white farmers who were getting overrun because there was basically just essentially a revolution.
Yeah.
That happened, and I don't mean that in a good way, but that's what happened, and they were being killed for being white landowners.
Yep. Yeah. So that was a big controversy, and then we were starting to get some of the fallout from the Diddy investigation.
Oh, wow. That was man, that was a year ago.
So that was a year ago. But now, think back 10 years ago.
Wow.
Okay. The Never Trump rebellion was in full force. You had Mitt Romney refusing to endorse Trump. You had conservative writers openly discussing third-party candidates. You had constant debate over whether Trump was really conservative. And you had outlets like National Review, Red State, Breitbart, Fox, Talk Radio, effectively in a civil war over who was clearly at that point the nominee, the GOP nominee. That was big.
Well, yeah, that's what's during you bring that up because that was 2016. That was 10 years ago on here.
Another big thing 10 years ago this week, actually, was the Obama administration's transgender bathroom directive, because they implemented the directive that said public facilities and schools had to allow students to use bathrooms corresponding to their gender identity or risk losing federal funding. So, a little reversal of fortune on that. That was big, but this is the biggest one. Harambe. It was 10 years ago Thursday that Harambe was shot and killed at the Cincinnati Zoo.
That was 10 years ago?
And there are some people who would contend that that is when everything flipped.
Rest in peace, my boy.
10 years ago.
10 years ago.
That does not seem like it was 10 years ago.
Rest in peace, Harambe. But I'm telling you, there are some people that say, hey, that's kind of when everything went a little sideways and skewed.
Like
I don't know.
Worldwide.
Yeah. I don't know.
And that was the one where like the little boy fell into the.
He did, and they
fell into the
They shot the Harambe to protect the little boy.
Right.
But yeah, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
And
that was huge.
All over the internet.
Yeah, because I mean, it's he was doing what animals do, investigating a curiosity of something in his territory that it wasn't. I mean, obviously, it was probably the parents' fault for letting the little boy get to
100%.
Yeah, because the little boy was like 3 or something like that.
Yeah, he was little. He was a toddler.
Tiny. And then Harambe didn't do anything wrong. But then again, you can't really. I mean, the zoo's like, we can't take a chance. I mean, this. Yeah. Oh man, that was that was terrible.
All right.
What do we got?
Now, forward-looking, the national days of the week.
Yeah.
Like sands through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives.
Oh, my mama told me there'll be days like this.
Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days. Thursday, Friday, happy days.
Now, we're already on Tuesday, so we're going to skip Monday.
That's right.
Tuesday, today, National Paper Airplane Day.
Okay. I could make a mean one.
Okay.
Yeah,
I can make one.
Yeah.
National Blueberry Cheesecake Day.
I have no complaint about that.
I don't know that I've ever had blueberry cheesecake, but I don't think I would say no to it.
What kind of cheesecake? The New York style or the more like what we tend to get around here? The New York style is way too rich for my taste. I like the fluffier kind.
Yeah, I don't think if it's too rich, that's not going to work for me.
Blueberries on it, cherries on it. I'm good.
I'm good. Wednesday, tomorrow, is National Grape Day. It's also National Grape Popsicle Day. So that's,
I didn't know grape popsicles were a thing.
Well, they are.
Grape
you
flavored.
didn't know grape popsicles?
Oh,
were a
you just
thing?
the flavor, you mean?
Yes.
Okay, I thought like actual making out
Well,
of
you
grapes.
could maybe.
And grape flavored stuff never tastes like actual grapes.
No.
No.
Oh, no.
But you could maybe make a wine popsicle.
There you go. There's like some. I found a type of grape at one of the grocery stores.
Cotton candy.
That's the one.
I know.
That's the
I knew
one.
exactly where you were going with that.
Have
Good
you
stuff.
had those?
They're very sweet.
Very
good.
sweet.
It is like cotton candy.
Yeah.
But yes, Wednesday is National Cellophane Tape Day. In case you were wondering.
Okay.
You do have time to get a
I
card.
have time to go get a card.
It's National Flip Flop Day, which I can totally get behind. National Senior Health and Fitness Day, which goes with what I just did. I'm senior and I just lifted like I was doing high kicks there. Okay.
You okay over there?
I'm gonna live. Thursday is my day too. It's National Hamburger Day.
Ah, there you go.
Gotta love that.
Where should we go to get a hamburger?
Go to Harput.
There you go.
Good suggestion. It's also National Brisket Day, so we're kind of keeping it all in the family.
Okay, brisket around the area. You got to ask the question. But where do you go for brisket around here?
I don't.
Okay, but where would you go? To me, Hendricks in St. Charles, Happy's on Lindell. Those are the two places I would go.
I will tell you that the best brisket you could possibly get in town comes from whoever pays me to say their name on air.
Oh, there you go.
That's
there you go.
fair. That's
Yeah.
totally fair. Hendricks has really good fried green tomatoes, by the way.
They do. Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
This is kind of weird because it's National Hamburger Day, but it's also National Beef Burger Day. So hamburger, beef burger, how are we distinguishing and why are there two different ones?
I mean, hamburgers are beef.
Well, I know it's a little confusing,
Yeah.
just like when you park on a driveway, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't quite get it. I don't know.
It's like the old, was it A1 or Heinz commercials? They were like putting it on there like, what's your burger made of? Well, steak. That's why they were trying to get you to recondition to get their steak sauce on their
exactly right.
burgers.
And then the cows are saying eat more chicken.
That's right.
So Friday is National Paperclip Day. Because we need one of those.
Really?
Well, if you're going to have cellophane tape, you might as well have paper clips too.
Really?
I do like the little colored paper clips when they're kind of like vinyl coated. So those are actually kind of cool.
We're at that age.
Also, it's the little things, right? Literally. Hey, I'll celebrate whatever. It's also National Coq au Vin Day, which is a meal that I don't know if I've had that dish before.
I don't know that one.
I know. It's French. It involves chicken.
Okay.
That's all I know. And it's National 529 Day, which I guess is the day of celebrating like these savings accounts for your students. It's, pro education. So we can get behind that.
Yeah, no, 521 plans. If you got a little newborn or a grandkid or something,
worth
you
it.
You should do it.
Definitely do it.
Hey, Jamie Ullman here for Window World. Did you know that Window World offers a lifetime warranty that covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor? They are one of the only 2 replacement windows with the Good Housekeeping seal of approval. Window World St. Louis has been owned and operated by a group of born and raised St. Louis residents for more than 23 years. And now Window World is offering 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. Call them today. 800-GET-WINDOWS for a free in-home, no-pressure estimate. That's Window World at 800-GET-WINDOWS.
What's the best way to get rid of a timeshare that you don't want? Call the Timeshare Exit Hotline. We're a group of attorneys that help customers legally exit their timeshares. It's an easy process. We guarantee results or you pay nothing. Exit your timeshare today. Call now.
800-524-1641. 800-524-1641. That's 800-524-1641.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Speaking with Missouri Attorney General Catherine Hanaway.
I'm particularly concerned about the products that are really aimed at kids that look like Skittles, Chips Ahoy cookies, Doritos that contain THC. So these places are selling pot, but they're also selling these other products that you can't make any argument but that they are targeted at kids.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL. KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at
Secretary of State Rubio says there are details yet to be ironed out in talks with Iran.
Speaking from India, Rubio says the sides are working on an outline.
Suffice it to say that some progress has been made, significant progress, although not final progress has been made.
Regional officials say the deal would gradually reopen the Strait of Hormuz and see the U.S. blockade of Iranian ports end. Iran would give up its stockpile of highly enriched uranium. At Arlington National Cemetery, President Trump mentioned those who were killed fighting Iran.
We lost 13 wonderful souls, wonderful, special people.
The president said there could be no 4th of July without America's armed forces, and there could be no Independence Day without Memorial Day. Ed Donahue, Washington.
And U.S. forces launched a new series of strikes on Iranian military targets. An evacuation order lifted for some of those evacuated from their homes near a chemical storage tank that was in danger of exploding in Southern California.
It's not over yet. We still have work to do.
Orange County Fire Chief Craig Covey.
There's two things that we're going to be still doing operation on. Number one, we still have to mitigate a fire and very small explosion concern, and also a spill potential.
President Trump's endorsement has carried a good deal of weight in recent GOP primaries. Today we'll see how things go in Texas, where incumbent U.S. Senator John Cornyn is facing a runoff against Trump-endorsed Ken Paxton. The winner will face Democrat James Tallarico in the general election. From Texas to Georgia to the Carolinas, forecasters say flash flooding is possible today, much of the South swamped by torrential rains. And 4 people are dead after a train collided with a school bus in northern Belgium. On Wall Street, Dow futures 308 points higher, NASDAQ futures up 309. More on these stories at townhall.com.
If you want unlimited talk, text, and data on a super fast network, Big Wireless will sell it to you right now for as little as $70 a month. Or you can buy it from Pure Talk for half of that. I'm talking about unlimited talk, text, and data for just $34.99 a month. But wait, there's more. When you switch to Pure Talk, you'll be switching to an American wireless company that's committed to keeping 100% of its customer service in this country. I appreciate that. In fact, that's why I switched. I also appreciate the way they support our vets and our skilled workforce. Dial pound 250, say micro, and get unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data for just $34.99 a month. That's pound 250 micro. Stop paying twice what you need to pay for the service you want and switch to an American wireless company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking temperatures back towards the lower 80s. This afternoon, eventually going to be looking at some scattered chances of some showers and storms. Some moderate downpours, a little bit of lightning going to be possible. Then into the evening and overnight hours, we dry back out by Wednesday about midday to the afternoon hours. Once again, some scattered chances of some showers and storms looking to clear out. Then we're looking drier as we approach the upcoming weekend. Temperatures continue to last back towards the mid to lower 80s. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Is diabetes keeping you from enjoying life's special moments? At U.S. Med, we understand the challenges you face, and we're here to help.
With U.S. Med, I can finally manage my diabetes without it managing me.
U.S. Med offers a wide range of services to simplify your diabetes care. Personalized care plans, convenient access to cutting-edge diabetes tech, and knowledgeable support. Plus, we'll check your insurance so your diabetes care may be covered at little or no cost to you.
With U.S. Med, I feel confident and control of my diabetes. I can finally live my life to the fullest.
Don't let diabetes hold you back. Choose U.S. Med and experience better birthdays, better adventures, better anniversaries, and better everything. Call now. U.S. Med. Better service, better care. 800-515-2380. 800-515-2380. 800-515-2380. That's 800-515-2380.
Mike Ferguson.
Shut this sucker down.
Susie Moore.
I disagree on his assessment of the situation.
Get up! Can't you hear the alarm? Get up St. Louis.
You're not supposed to lie, but you're definitely not supposed to lie when you're under oath.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Here at News Talk STL, obviously, we're very, very adamant about advocating for veterans.
Absolutely.
Here, and that's just kind of naturally come just through who and what we are as a station, and those who listen, whether on the right or the left. And of course, obviously, with Memorial Day just passing, very different than Veterans Day, of course. But there's an organization out there that I got behind back in when I was doing national shows and things like that. Because of the speed and efficiency of how they help veterans. And so Code of Vets then kind of ceased operations and moved on to other things, but they're back now. And once I saw that they were back, I contacted Gretchen Smith, who runs Code of Vets, and I'm like, we got to talk about this again now that you're back. And she joins us right now in Code of Vets. That's what you want to look up. And Gretchen, first of all, it's been a while since we've chatted, so I appreciate you being back on the program. I think last time we chatted, we were doing the national show thing, but this is very, very different. I first want to kind of establish what it is that you do, and then we'll talk about why what you do is different and separate than the other services that are out there. So you come across a specific need of a specific veteran, and then you utilize social media, and I have seen you get those needs met in a matter of hours. Walk me through how that happens and what kind of crises are you looking for to help out?
Thanks for having me on, Mike. Absolutely. So we consider ourselves to be a rapid response team. We operate in real time on social media. And I think we've all learned that social media platforms can be incredibly powerful when used for something good. And that's what we're doing is we're as the veterans are coming to us and we're vetting the needs, I am placing them out there in social media world and letting the donors and the followers know what is happening, and they can donate in real time. And then as the money flows in, I can push it right out to the veterans in that moment when they need it the most, because every minute counts. When we have these veterans that are sitting in their car or couch surfing or in a motel room, lost, broken, and with zero hope, and they're in the weeds and they can't find their way out, we walk with them. We fill that gap. We're standing in the gap with them to let them know, you know what, there's help out there, there's hope, and we've got you.
Okay, so what type of give me an example of like a crisis you've dealt with, and then the follow-up question is going to be, Gretchen, how do we know that you're not getting conned, and if somebody donates $25 or $50 or $100 or $500 or whatever they give, how are they going to know that it went to meet that immediate need? Because there's so many pleas for money out on social media.
Oh, absolutely. So they go to the website, fill out the vet need form, and they have to upload their DD-214, their VA ID card, state ID card, and whatever that need may be, whether it's an eviction notice, their water's been shut off, electric's been shut off, and we vet those needs. We call the veteran. We filter out the scammers, and we bring through the ones that are truly in crisis. And when you don't have water for your kids to take baths, that's a crisis. Or when there's no lights, or, you've been evicted. So whatever the case may be, we're able to address that need with, like you said, within a matter of hours. So we take our job seriously. These are vetted veterans that are truly in desperate straits, and we want to get them back on track as quickly as possible. And then we also pivot and partner with other orgs to make sure that they're taken care of long-term, because we are, Mike, rapid response.
Okay, so somebody's going to be asking the question, and it's a very reasonable one. Say, wait a minute, we've got the VA, we've got all of these, charitable groups, NGOs that are focused on veterans' needs. Why not just look to them? Aren't I already paying taxes to take care of veterans?
Well, the VA is a slow-moving machine. It's massive. It's a beast to navigate, and there is nothing quick or in the moment about the VA system. I think we've all learned that the hard way. If anybody out there has ever dealt with the VA trying to get their claims submitted and approved, it takes months, and sometimes it can take 1 or 2 years. So, and they do have different programs, but there is nothing out there, and there are other NGOs out there, but there is not one other org out there that operates in real time, that uses social media in the way that we do. So that's what makes CodeVets unique, and I think that's why we've been so successful. We've really stood out from all of the thousands of other vet orgs that are out there. We operate in real time, and I don't know of one other nonprofit that does that. It's a lot of work. It's a heavy load, and that's why I took a hiatus. I needed to I'm a veteran. I had to, I needed assistance at some point, and I needed to pull myself together. And now that I'm back, I'm stronger than ever. CodeVets is being built out. As we speak right now, we're going to be bigger, better, and stronger and be able to assist more veterans. We're going to have more of a solid structure in place in order to assist more veterans.
We are visiting with Gretchen Smith from CodeVets, and which platforms are on? Because the handle is the same, just CodeVets, all one word, right?
Yeah.
Which platforms are you on? I would encourage people to look them up and follow those like I do.
Yeah, I right now, I started initially on Twitter, which is now X. It's at CodeVets. That's where I've raised millions of dollars and assisted over 8,000 veterans over the past 7 years. And I did take a year off and shut it down, but it's back. And we're building it where it's going to be a bigger platform where we can have more veterans flow through the system. So, and I'm also on LinkedIn under Gretchen Smith, and I do raise some donations there. But yes, please come find us, share the missions. We're getting ready to become operational again in the next 30 days. And I'm collecting donations now because the moment we open and we're ready, I want to hit the ground running because we've already got veterans lined up for help.
Yeah, and this is one of those things that it's almost fascinating to watch in real time, like back before you took that hiatus, Gretchen, is you would see you put out the need and you put out the documentation. It could have been like an emergency, like a car repair so somebody can get to work or to daycare, or like you said, an eviction. I think there were at one point, there were some medical things, all sorts of different things. But then you were giving updates and then you're showing the actual receipts, I'm certain with the veteran's permission, but you're showing the actual receipts so people know that when this need was this need was met, that here's the proof of it, and it's out there. And I think one of those, I think I tracked you for like 45 minutes, and you went, I don't remember how much it was, but you went from this person's about to like lose their home because they lost their job or whatever the case was, to, okay, we got them restored, they're good for the next month, and now they've been connected with these other social services. It was like 45 minutes. It was unreal.
Yeah, it's absolutely mind-blowing, the power behind social media platforms. That's, and I've learned how to harness that. And we can literally secure a vet and give them hope and let them know that they're not walking this path alone within a matter of an hour or 2 hours, depending on what the need is. And if they do have an eviction notice and they need 2 or 3 months back rent, which is $4,000-$6,000, there are times when I've been able to send that to a veteran that same day, like 6 hours later, that donors respond to that. So when you put the mission out and then you provide updates and then you screenshot what the funds that I send so that people can see where their money has gone throughout that day, it is motivating and it makes you feel good. It just fills your cup that day. You know you've done something good and you've changed a life and you've given them that hope and that motivation to keep moving forward.
Gretchen, what does the veteran have to show you to qualify to be one of those that you say, yes, we're on it, we're taking this up? Because there tragically are some people who simply put themselves in positions to where they're not going to make the changes that are needed later. Do you look to screen and say who's legit? And
we just screen.
Yeah. So what are some of the ways you do that?
Well, we absolutely screen our vets. We have to, because there are some that are looking for a hand out, and we do not do that. We give a hand up. So if that veteran is motivated and they're either they have a job or they're actively looking for a job, and if they're in between jobs, what we try to do is help them set up to go back and train and use their GI Bill if they've never used it. So we'll assist them in applying for that, and whatever it is, a trade school or just use that GI Bill because it will cover your rent and give you that cushion to be able to live while you're trying to redirect your life. So we don't just hand out money. We're making sure that they have a path forward out of whatever situation they have found themselves in. And yes, we absolutely require documentation for everything that we do for our veterans, because not everybody's a good person, even in the veteran community. We all know that, Mike. So we try to weed out those scammers and the ones who are not going to put forth any effort in their life. We have phone calls with them, and if they happen to be homeless, we will speak to their homeless case manager if they have one, or if they're being evicted, we'll call the landlord and confirm it. So yes, we screen it, we vet it, we make sure that it is a true mission, that when the donors are giving, they're giving to a real cause.
And Gretchen, what brought you to this? You've told your story before, and you and I have talked about it over the past years. But what is it that put you in the position to say, this is what I'm going to do with my vocation? Which, by the way, just so people know, when you did this before, your overhead was like ridiculously low. It was single digits. It was crazy.
Yes. So, this is about my dad. It's a very personal journey. It's a passion for me. It's a ministry. It's a calling. My dad lost his battle with PTSD. He was a combat veteran in the Vietnam War, and he never got the help that he needed. And I wasn't able to save Dad. I tried, but I just used his journey and his story and his life, and I didn't want it to go in vain. And I wanted to do something to make my dad proud of me, to know that I loved him and I honored his service. And so I started Code of Vets on a whim. I didn't have a business plan. I didn't know what it was going to be. I just got out there and started talking about his story and his journey as a daughter, but as a veteran as well. And the veterans just started coming to the platform, sharing their stories and eventually their needs. So it organically evolved into this nonprofit that's become hugely successful. I've raised millions of dollars and assisted over 8,000 veterans, and I've set the bar high, stepped away for a year, I experienced a divorce and had to pull myself together by the bootstraps and, create a new life. So, I'm just out there. I want to help these veterans. It's my passion, and again, Dad's with me every step of the way.
All right, and you're saying you get all set up next 30 days or so. This is going to be an actual full-on nonprofit, with receipts 100%. And all that kind of stuff. So somebody donates.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if they make a donation, is this something they can write off on their taxes at the end of the year?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. It will be a 501c3. We're getting the EIN number as we speak in the next week or two. It's going to be operational within the next 30 days. And it's just so exciting to get back out there and do this, Mike. It truly is a passion. And there's so many veterans who need our support and help. And it's such an honor to be able to do this. I'm looking forward to it. And, this time around, I'm going to try to keep our operational costs under 15%. First time around, I did 2%, which almost killed me. It's just, I wore so many hats. It was brutal. Yeah. I was running everything. So my goal is to keep it between 10 and 15%. And I have to have a paid staff. Because that's one of the reasons I had to step away. It became so successful. It was really overwhelming for me. So now it's going to be much more structured, and I'm going to be able to assist more veterans with the way we're setting it up. This time we have a business plan, an operational plan, a marketing plan. So we have all these things set in place to make it successful.
Okay, so the best place to get started, I would encourage people to check it out for themselves. Website, obviously, Code of Vets on Twitter, probably other platforms, but the website's just codeofvets.com, right?
Yeah. Yes.
All right, Gretchen Smith, thanks so much, and you will be hearing from me from time to time.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it.
All right. Okay. At least the August ballot is set in Missouri. All right. We're going to be deciding several ballot questions, including two of the great big ones for 2026. So at 8:20, what we're going to do is we're going to go down what we're going to be voting on in August and explain to you what they are and what they are not. You can agree or disagree with the ballot questions, but at least you're going to know what it is.
Had enough of this. Turn my eyes to your indifference. Stop right now.
Well, there you go again, listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up in case you hear the alarm.
Sometimes when it comes to sprucing up your home or just freshening up or just adding the value, sometimes it can be as simple as, you got to get that new roof on there. Maybe you got to get some new shingles. Maybe you got to get some new, paint or something like that. But how about this? How about something to take your house and your home into that retreat? To do that, you need to chat with my friends at Lee May Concrete Block. Mike Ferguson here for Lee May Concrete Block. LeeMayBlock.com is the website. They've got everything from ready-mix concrete solutions to those beautiful retaining walls, those beautiful garden walls, those beautiful seating walls that you could put around a patio. And I mean, that adds so much visual improvement, class, character to your home, but also, if you do it right, value. So here's what you do. You go to Limay Concrete Block, just go to the website or put in Limay Concrete Block into your maps. It'll take you right there in St. Louis. And say, here's my idea, maybe even here's my sketches, and they're going to show you, here's what you need to do it and get you set up to do that in your home. Be the home that people walk by and go, I want my home to look like that. You could do that with Limay Concrete Block. Just go to limayblock.com and say, all right, Mike made some big promises. Tell me what you can do for me and put them to the test.
Life's legal challenges deserve experienced representation. For over 15 years, Cole Combs Attorney at Law has been serving St. Charles and surrounding counties with comprehensive legal expertise. From tax preparation and estate planning to family law and criminal defense, Cole delivers personalized solutions for your unique situation. You have traffic tickets, need a business formation, real estate matters, one call will handle it all. Cole O. Combs Attorney at Law. Call 636-949-0010 extension 3 today or visit colecombs-law.com.
What's the best way to get rid of a timeshare that you don't want? Call the Timeshare Exit Hotline. We're a group of attorneys that help customers legally exit their timeshares. It's an easy process. We guarantee results or you pay nothing. Exit your timeshare today. Call now.
800-524-1641. 800-524-1641. That's 800-524-1641.
If you have a phone, you have a radio. Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
Love the all-new app.
And listen anytime, anywhere.
Good morning, St. Louis. Hey, it's Vince from The Vince Show right here on News Talk STL every weeknight at 8. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
All right, on the Missouri side of the area, the August election just got a lot more important all over the state. Now, typically, the primaries in the off-year elections, it's big for your party. But it just got a lot more important because here on the Missouri side, for Democrats, you were looking at the St. Louis County executive race. You know, who's going to be the Democratic nominee and face off against Des Hancock. In St. Charles County, the biggest race there obviously is for county executive, and the Republican primary is going to decide that one. The Democratic primary in St. Louis County, it's going to decide who the favorite is, but not necessarily who the winner is going to be because it is a blue county. However, because of the mess Sam Page has made, it's not out of the realm of possibility that Dennis Hancock can make this a really competitive race. Having said that, Jerome, the big issues on the ballot are going to be the statewide ballot questions. Okay. So Governor Kehoe announced on Friday which ones, because it was his deadline, he had to tell us which ones were going to be on the August primary ballot, and he did that. So I will tell you, probably most of us had already checked out by late afternoon on Friday going into I did. So if you missed it, let me go over what we are going to be voting on. So 314-912-1019 or send us notes on social media. I'm just going to tell you what's on the ballot. You can tell me if you agree, you disagree. If you have questions about them, let me know. I will answer them as objectively as I can. Believe me, there's going to be plenty of time for me to give you my opinion on all of them, and I've got some pretty strong thoughts on some of these here. But what's going to happen on the August ballot? The first one is Amendment 1, and this is something that shows up every 10 years. This is that 0.1% sales tax, and they've now added in use tax, which just means sales tax on online stuff. And so it is 0.1%, and that money is then used for soil and water conservation, for state parks, and in the last 20 years or so, they've added historic sites. Pretty non-controversial, generally speaking, and this tends to pass overwhelmingly every 10 years.
Yeah, I'm very much vocally outspoken against taxes, but I think soil content and preserving our natural beauty of our historic sites is something we should all be able to get on board with.
Yeah, this one's, you're not going to hear a lot about Amendment 1 just because it passes so easily every time. Somebody will do a little bit of something, but it's pretty non-controversial for the most part on this. All right, Amendment 2. Again, these are going to be on the August ballot. So I don't know that anybody around here is directly going to feel a change or an impact on this. This is really targeted more at Jackson County than it is anything else. And so it's a little bit wonky, but here's what you're going to be asked to decide. If approved by voters, what will happen then is that all charter counties, including Jackson County, which is, as you know, where Kansas City is, it will require all charter counties to elect a county assessor. And the question came up earlier, like, wait a minute, they don't have assessors? Well, they do. They just may not be elected. So sometimes it could be appointed or there's a board or whatever they do. Because remember, a county charter is basically the county constitution. And if you become a charter county, if you vote to become a charter county and you meet the requirements by the state, then you can basically write your own local governing document as long as it doesn't violate state law or the state constitution. And this would be changing the rules that the state puts on charter counties. Okay, is that clear as mud now? Is that wonky enough? So I will be really honest. I don't personally have a real strong opinion on this one way or the other, but that's what's going to be voted on. Okay, now let's talk about the big ones.
Yes.
All right. Amendment number 4. This is the initiative petition reform. This is the IP reform that we have been debating for years now. So here's what will happen. If we say yes to Amendment 4, that means that if somebody puts an initiative petition referendum on the ballot to change the state constitution, this is only referring to constitutional amendments. If you put a referendum on the ballot just to change a law or to create a law or to void out a law, it's just 50% plus 1 is normal. That does not change at all. The only thing that would change is if we're talking about a constitutional amendment that comes to the ballot by initiative petition. So, for instance, the last several years, we've had the marijuana industry say, we want to write our own set of regulations and laws. So they've invested tens of millions of dollars into, getting the matter on the ballot, the legal battles that went with it, and then paid for the campaign. Voters said yes. And so basically the marijuana industry wrote their own, literally part of the state constitution. More recently, the casinos and the online sports books, they did the same thing with gambling. Now, listen, I'm pretty small libertarian. You want to gamble, you want to smoke pot, I don't care. I don't think that you should be special interests should be writing their own pieces of our Constitution.
Oh, agreed.
Yeah. So here's what's at stake here. If you pass Amendment 4, here's what changes. The threshold to approve a new constitutional amendment is still 50% plus 1 vote. That doesn't change. But what does change is that in every single congressional district, you still have to get 50% plus 1 votes. And if you don't get buy-in and a majority throughout the entire state, then you don't get that. So you could get conceivably 52, 53% of the vote, but 1 or 2 districts, rural districts or the urban districts, they could say, we don't like that, and they could tank it.
Ooh.
I don't know that that's a bad thing.
I do think it is more fair overall because there is a population density is a thing, and it's not necessarily fair to everybody to have the most dense population say, well, we have 50% plus 1 versus if you give every area, say, hey, our little community here, we are also 51% plus 1, then you have more communities coming together to say, yes, we want this.
Well, there are things that would be of great interest to St. Louis and or Kansas City that would be detrimental to rural areas and vice versa.
Oh, yes.
And so if we're talking about a constitutional amendment, I think there should be a higher threshold.
Yes.
So this is a pretty tame increase in that threshold. I think you should have to get more than 50% plus one to pass something to change the state constitution, but they're leaving it at 50% plus one. You just have to have buy-in from the entire state to change the state constitution.
I like that.
So that's what you're voting on there. And then there's Amendment 5. Okay, so Amendment 5 here, this is the income tax repeal. You say, okay, well, if we pass Amendment 5, then what is the tax plan going to be? We don't know yet. That's the honest answer. But it would direct the legislature to phase out the state income tax if state revenues are met through other sources or through economic growth. So you're going to hear a lot about that. A lot. You already are. People are very, very passionate on both sides of this. But that's what Amendment 5 is. That is the income tax repeal.
Yeah, and the opponents are already calling it the tax everything proposal, and they're like, well, I had somebody say that. Well, the majority of Missourians already don't pay income tax. No, it's more of a rebate. If you get a tax refund, you still paid the taxes. You just overpaid, and you get a little bit of that back now. So I think that this would actually, if we get rid of the income tax, I think we'll see a lot more spending power from Native Missourians that are actually working in the state.
Yeah, and it's somebody said, well, does that mean we're going to increase sales taxes? Well, maybe not the tax rate, but there most likely will be things that aren't subject to sales taxes now that will have to pay sales taxes like the other things on there. So it basically is, how do we want to pay for the government? And this would allow that change.
And do you want to have more control over your own personal finances?
So a lot of good faith arguments, some not so good faith arguments at the same time. But income tax repeal, that's Amendment 5, which means that Amendment 3, the pro-life one, that's going to be in November.
Ooh.
Yep.
Well, I hope you're going to hear some good faith arguments, but I know it's going to be entertaining regardless of how the merits of the arguments go. Is it going to be next week, the St. Charles County Executive Primary Debate at the J. Schneider Center on June 2nd. The live broadcast will be from 7 to 8:30 p.m. here on News Talk STL. But I would encourage you actually to show up as well.
Yeah.
This is a beautiful center. It's going to be great. You have
That's where the cool people are going to be.
Bill Eigel. You've got the incumbent Elman. You've got Jason Law. It's brought to you by the Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise from Lindenwood University, the St. Charles County Republican Central Committee, and News Talk STL.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking temperatures back towards the lower 80s. This afternoon, eventually going to be looking at some scattered chances of some showers and storms. Some moderate downpours, a little bit of lightning going to be possible. Then into the evening and overnight hours, we dry back out by Wednesday about midday to the afternoon hours. Once again, some scattered chances of some showers and storms looking to clear out. Then we're looking drier as we approach the upcoming weekend. Temperatures continue to last back towards the mid to lower 80s. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch.
Fox News commentary with Brian Kilmeade next.
You're probably listening to this in your car, so let me ask you, would you drive without insurance? Of course not. So why is your retirement portfolio unprotected? Gold is portfolio insurance. It helps de-risk your savings when markets get unpredictable. Noble Gold Investments has helped thousands of Americans do exactly that, with no high-pressure sales and thousands of 5-star reviews. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult with your tax or financial professional before making any investment decisions.
It's Brian Kilmeade on Spencer Pratt running to be LA's next mayor.
So this will be the biggest story in the country if you can overturn Los Angeles and get an independent running. And then the thing would be having success. Start making things better. He said, look, if I do not win, I'm going to Texas with everybody else. I'm not going to raise my kids here. But my hope is I win and I make things better. And that would be key. Now, a lot of people saying what he says is a lot of the homeless need forced rehab, and there might be some legal issues with that. Good. Get a lawyer and get some city lawyers and figure out how to do it. And then you first get volunteers to go in there and see them get better, and maybe some ex-meth addicts go out in the stump with them and talk about Karen Bass's way is get the meth addicts new teeth so they can interview for a job. He's saying get them rehab so they can get off the streets.
For more commentary like this, go to foxnewspodcast.com.
Hey, this is Chris Arps.
If you enjoy a good cigar like I do, check out Dorset Cigar at 11396 Dorset Road in Maryland Heights. They'll help you find the perfect smoke, and they have a fantastic premium selection. Mention promo code NewsTalkSTL for 7% off. Visit DorsetCigar.com.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airways for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Money Radio every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed. Oh, yeah? Yeah, he's starting with the woots. Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Whether at home or at work, you're mobile.
So when you're mobile, stay mobile.
Keep St. Louis's home for conservative talk with you
wherever you go.
Download the News Talk STL app in the App Store or at newstalkstl.com.
Good morning, Missouri. It's your boy, Joe Pags. I'll talk to you tonight at 10. But right now, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Okay, so why don't we see more people outraged about the billions of dollars in fraud and just the outright theft of your tax dollars? We were talking earlier about fraud and theft on small scale and large scale, everything from, swiping your debit card info to what's happening in Minnesota and in California, which I think we're still just scratching the surface of what's happening in California. Obviously, right here in Illinois, right across the river from where we are right now, we've got an emerging set of news stories about the fraud and stuff there that's probably going to rival Minnesota, if not surpass it.
Yeah, that's been on my mind lately. It's incredible about how little outrage there seems to be about being taken advantage of like this.
Yeah, well, one of the reasons more people aren't outraged is because they still don't know about it.
Oh.
Now, you would think, how is that possible? It's everywhere. Well, it's everywhere if you're tuned into conservative media, but it's not everywhere if you're tuned in to only mainstream media. Matter of fact, our friends at the Media Research Center have been tracking this, and we're now joined by Michael Morris from MRC. And some of what you all found, Michael, it's kind of mind-boggling because those of us who try to get a very diverse set of news sources, we know this is going on, but you track the coverage of the fraud, and I think people would be stunned to know how little it's actually been covered on some of the biggest media outlets in the country.
Yeah, absolutely right. And thank you for having me on the program. It's truly astounding how little this information is getting out. We here at the Media Research Center's Free Speech America division, we actually monitor the tech giants that are aggregating news and information. What am I talking about? I'm talking about Google News. Over 99% of Americans have either an iPhone or an Apple phone, an Android or a Google phone, and pre-downloaded on both of those devices is either Apple News or Google News. We're talking about Google News here. And what we found throughout the month of April, Google News was actually going to bat for Democrats as the midterm elections approach. And what they did is they actually provided 0 articles on 3 major fraud scandals: the SPLC indictment, Southern Poverty Law Center, Florida Democratic representative who resigned amidst the fraud findings from the House Ethics Committee, and then the FBI raids on child care centers in Minnesota. Completely blanked it out during the month of April.
Yeah, and these are absolutely massive as far as literally we're into billions of dollars on this. And so what's their argument, Michael? Is that, well, it got filtered out, or, we're updating the algorithms? I mean, is there even an acknowledgement of overt bias on one of these gatekeepers? Because guys, my age, and we grew up, I'm in my, early 50s. I grew up, with network news, and then CNN, and then Fox, and then Newsmax, and then, that sort of thing. But we're talking about the gatekeeper for what gets to a lot of those news sources, not to mention the social media feeds.
Absolutely right. And look, here at the Media Research Center, we look at the top 20 morning stories. We did so in the month of April. And, like I said, 0 articles on these 3 major scandals. Again, that was SPLC, McCormick down in Florida, who, by the way, is running again for elected office, and then the FBI raids in Minnesota. And Americans, 86% of them have said they at least sometimes get news and information on digital devices. And again, that's your cell phone. That's a tablet. That's your computer. Pre-downloaded on those devices, Apple News, Google News, if you're using a laptop or a desktop computer, that's Microsoft's MSN. These are called news aggregators. And what they do is they pull information from other websites and then make it digestible for viewers to see at a glance. Google News, however, has been doing this for quite some time. I'm old enough to remember back when Donald Trump was elected the first time, when Google executives were boo-hooing about his election in an all-hands meeting, and then shortly after that video was leaked, Google apparently removed the "Don't be evil" motto from its from its code of conduct. Apparently, doing a little evil is okay with Google now, and it looks like they're doing exactly that by keeping news and information from the American public.
Okay, so we talk about the aggregators, Michael. I mean, is this a chicken and egg thing because, they're sourcing from other websites to go through, basically get put out there? Is it a matter of the outlets they're choosing from are biased and left-wing, and therefore they're not getting anything from conservative sites or libertarian sites or anything like that? Or is it a matter of they're looking to filter that out?
So look, Google will say that it's the algorithm. So Google hides behind its algorithm. But look, somebody made that algorithm. The algorithm didn't just pop out of thin air. Google has people that actually create the algorithm that they use, and then that filters the news and information that the American public can see. And so, and what's astounding here, truly astounding, is that during the month, even if you're not talking about these 3 scandals that I mentioned earlier, you're just looking at the broad-based news coverage that Google News actually shows the American public. During the morning editions, this is the top 20 stories every morning during the month of April, Google suppressed the right and promoted the left. Only 15 out of 519 all sides rated outlets, 15, that's 3%, came from right-leaning outlets. 361 out of 519, that's 70%, came from left-leaning outlets. The suppression of right-leaning information is astounding.
Michael, what do we do about it? I mean, obviously most people who are watching or listening to us right now are, they're already tuned into conservative sites. They're listening to shows or watching shows like this. They're looking at Red State. They're probably going to Newsmax and Fox and all the others. And I suspect, they're going to some of the mainstream sites as well. But is there anything we can do to either change the algorithm or create a demand in the market to make these gatekeepers reflect the rest of the viewpoints better?
Look, that's an excellent question, and you hit the nail on the head. Conservatives are smart, and so they go directly to the source for information. The conservative ecosystem is doing fantastic despite this suppression, and it's truly incredible. But what's concerning here is the people in the middle. Your swing vote, as it were. These folks may be passively ingesting news and information from the aggregators that is clearly biased. And so what we need to do is Congress should be pushing for transparency. Okay, so that Google can't hide behind its algorithm anymore. If it's going to push leftist sources, then it should have to say, hey, by the way, viewer, we're pushing predominantly leftist sources. And then what about from enforcement side? FTC has actually sent a letter to Apple News, and it's put Apple News on notice, but it also puts the other aggregators on notice as well, that aggregators, if you're going to put this information out and you're going to pretend that you're just providing news and information and you're not being biased, well, then there may be a potential fraud issue here. There may be misinformation being spread. This may be an issue with the American public.
Producer Jerome chiming in. Thank you again for joining us this morning, Michael. So the other issue that I've noticed, at least when it comes to people that are millennial and Gen Z age, is confirmation bias is a very real problem. They believe that because they trust a source and this is what the source is showing them, therefore this must be more important than what's not being talked about. So do you have any advice on how to shake people out of maybe a information desert that they've found themselves in?
Sure. So it's about going directly to the original source for information. It's like we would do here in the media room. You don't rely on other sources for information. You go directly to the source. So if the original source is a government entity, then you go to that source directly, so you don't have to read spin from other outlets. You can get it from the original source.
Got it. All right, Michael Morris from Media Research Center. Of course, we use your materials often as we possibly can. What's the way to be in touch? We've already tagged you on our social media, just one of the websites. What's the best way to do it? Because if we're not tracking the bias, then it's really hard to get those swing voters the information that they're going to need, whether they're going to vote with us or not. If they digest everything and disagree with me, that's one thing. It's when they're being denied the information that things get rigged, as opposed to we win or lose.
Yeah, absolutely right. You can check us out at mrc.org. Again, that's mrc.org. For the information that we do on tech giants, it's mrcfreespeechamerica.org, mrcfreespeechamerica.org. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Yeah, good talk to you, Michael. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Okay, the conversations that we are having here, you can go back and either revisit or you can share them with people who need to hear them. For instance, that one right there with Michael Morris, that's going to be up on our podcast. Just look up Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL. Subscribe. That's the best way to do it. We got a lot of people reacting to that conversation with Gretchen Smith from Code of Vets. That's going to be posted as a podcast here. That should not be anything partisan whatsoever. Now, I happen to know Gretchen's conservative, but that's not what they do, Code of Vets. They don't care how the veteran votes. They just help the veterans. When that gets posted, please go and share that and tag Code of Vets and us as well. That's something everybody should be able to agree on.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-345-2789. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-345-2789. That's 800-345-2789 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-345-2789.
Hanson's Tree Service at hansonstree.com is your one-stop shop for expert insured tree care and more in the greater St. Louis region and at the Lake of the Ozarks. Visit hansonstree.com for 24/7 emergency tree care, grinding and land clearing, awesome organic mulch, green resource recycling, and more. Tim Jones here to tell you that whether you're dealing with old man winter at your home or business in the St. Louis region or preparing your lake home for spring, call Hanson's to help you out. No job too big or too small. Mention News Talk STL. Receive 10% off all tree care services. hansonstree.com. hansonstree.com.
Colombo and Company.
Join us every day for conversations with a wide variety of guests as we keep you informed and up to speed on all the important news and headlines you need to know.
Live and local, weekdays at 2
on News Talk STL.
Hi, it's Vic Porcelli.
And Ken.
Hi, Ken.
Hey, Vic.
Ken and I are on every Monday through Friday here on News Talk STL. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Whoosh, my morning people.
All right. While you were barbecuing and or drinking, we bombed more stuff in Iran.
Yay or boo.
No, yeah, okay. And the left wing in Illinois has just a few days left to pass some really horrible ideas into law for this year. This stuff's crazy.
Yeah.
Just crazy. Also, remember that movie Up? The Golden Retriever, Doug? That was the name of the dog, Doug, D-U-G. Doug. He's the one that had the collar that when he barked, it like supposedly said what he was thinking.
The Duggo. Yeah.
Yes, like squirrel, that kind of stuff. Okay, so a company is claiming to have made that tech a reality.
Huh.
We'll see.
Good
If it's
luck.
true, what would your dog or your cat say? Send me those thoughts here as well in the last 8 minutes that we have here. All right, it's 8:50 right now. Let's go ahead and do another news dump.
The Morning News Dump, brought to you by Lee May Concrete and Block.
The Morning News Dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks. The Morning News Dump.
All right, U.S. strikes resumed on Monday. Military officials say Iranian missile launch sites in the southern part of the country were hit. CENTCOM also says boats that were trying to place mines in the area were hit. The White House claims the strikes were in their words, self-defense.
Yeah, I've heard. I keep hearing the same thing every few months at this point. I'm not really sure what to make of it.
Yeah, the reality is that rolling over Iran is one thing. Iran surrendering has been an entirely different thing that's taking far longer than I think anybody thought that it actually would. So the longer this drags out, the more possibility it could really go south quickly. But clearly, militarily, we're in a lot of control, but we don't have the ownership of the region that I think that a lot of people thought we would.
Well, and even if it's not the case that they're stronger than we anticipated, it could just be that we have done everything we said, and they're just that stupid that they're just trying to find new Wile E. Coyote ways of being a pain in the neck. But
yeah, well, and also they got resources from around the world.
Yeah.
As well. I mean, we can blow up all their stuff, but they've got allies who not even so much love them, but just hate us, that are still willing to supply them.
And the longer that we are engaged with this, and the longer that we engage, it not only hurts our economy, but if they can keep this chokehold on the street, that's all of Europe's energy that's being affected as well.
Yep. All right. And President Trump and other officials paying tribute to fallen U.S. service members at Arlington National Cemetery on Monday, obviously Memorial Day. The president included a reference and mourning the loss of 13 U.S. service members in the war against Iran.
These incredible men and women gave their lives to ensure that the world's #1 state sponsor of terror will never have a nuclear weapon. Oh, and they won't.
And there are peace talks that are happening in the Middle East region throughout the week, including some that are scheduled for today that actually, looking at the time and doing the calculation, I think they might be underway right now as we speak.
Oh, so tomorrow we might have an entirely different story for you.
Very, very possible. All right, oil prices obviously volatile since the war began. Oil industry analyst Trilby Lundberg of the Lundberg Survey says that oil gas prices could go up again in the coming weeks.
We have low stocks, we have spring demand, and retailers are still reeling from the price hikes they received a couple of weeks back. They have not yet passed it through.
So the average price for a gallon of gas has actually gone down a little nationally and down a little around here. According to AAA, it is $4.49 as of early this morning for a national average. In Missouri, the average price is $4.15, with metro area prices ranging from $4.12 in Warren County to $4.32 in the city. It's always more expensive in the city. In Illinois, the statewide average price is $4.93, but remember, it was like $5.04 or something like that last week. Metro East pricing ranging from $4.90 in Calhoun County to $4.95 in St. Clair County. Okay, the Illinois Assembly's legislative session wraps up on Friday. Several spending bills remain unresolved, and among the other bills being considered are Democratic proposals to fund abortions with taxpayer funds and exempt the abortion pill and exempt both testosterone and estrogen prescribed for those wanting to live as the opposite sex from the state prescription monitoring database program.
Why are they so dead set on trying to prevent families?
It is that bizarre, perverse idolatry, sacrament of the far left that they have to want to do these cross-sex hormones as something that is so sacred that you don't even do the basic safety tracking. Now, listen, I think the prescription drug database monitoring program is an overreach to start with for all of us. But you go buy cough syrup, they track you. You buy allergy meds, they track you. But you want to get an abortion pill? You want to get you want to give a 13-year-old girl testosterone or a 13-year-old boy estrogen? They want that completely off the books. It's absolutely insidious.
Literally insane.
Yeah. All right, let's see here. We already talked about all of the statewide referendums on there, so you can keep track of those. Let's go to what's happening in Texas. This is the big election day for the Texas runoff, the Republican runoff. John Cornyn trying to hold on to a seat, being challenged by Attorney General Ken Paxton. The president actually endorsing Attorney General Ken Paxton. John Cornyn was asked about that on Sunday Night in America on Fox News.
I've voted with him 99.3% of the time. I am an ally of the president. So unlike some of the other endorsements, this really isn't about me, I don't believe, but that's what the president decided to do.
Okay, so Ken Paxton was on Fox and Friends this weekend, and here was his thoughts on that.
He's been in office since I was in college, and I'm 63. So 42 years in office, I've been asking every voter, whether it's one voter or thousands, what has John accomplished that's good for the state of Texas or the country? And you know what? No one's ever had an answer.
Okay, this is the big race today.
This will be very interesting to see how this shapes up, especially after Massey's loss. And he's saying, 99.3%. Well, it sounds like it should have been 100% if you wanted to keep the endorsement.
99.3 just ain't
should have been 101% voting with him. That just seems to be the direction we're going. But I could be proven wrong. It might be a very interesting turnout.
Yep. All right. A tech company says they've created an AI-powered pet translator to tell you what your critter is actually saying. Oh, man. China-based Meng Xiaohui is, I don't know if I said that right, but I don't care. They're in China. They can't do anything.
Close enough.
Yeah. They're selling the pet translator for about $118. It's a collar, and they already have over 10,000 pre-orders.
What, in the United States?
Just worldwide.
Okay.
Yeah, but still.
Don't buy this.
Yeah. According to the company, the collars will incorporate vocal patterns, overall behavior, and body language to determine what your pet is trying to say. Now, you may or may not be surprised to learn that the company has not cited any science to back up claims that pets barking and meowing can be translated into any human language.
I mean, I'm sure there might be some sort of regional accents between different animals, but at the same time, if it's AI powered, you could build this yourself. Just put like ChatGPT and have it go off saying whatever the owner wants to say.
It's the dialect. I mean, like if your cat's from the South, it's like meow, y'all.
Meow.
Isn't that how that goes? Isn't that how that goes? So it's like the movie Up with the dog going squirrel, except they're saying that they've actually done it.
What conversations would you have with your pet, though? Like, oh, yes, I think that Nitschke was a little too dark and gray with his philosophy.
No, I mean, but like I think about my two cats. Punky would be just like, please pet me. Rosie would be like, I would kill you if I could. You'll never find where that thing went.
I can already tell with the dogs that I've been around think it's, hey, treat, hey, ball,
That's
hey,
right.
you're back, hey, scratch, hey, sniff.
Belly rub, please.
Yes, belly rub, treat, ball,
I'm a good
walk.
boy. That's all I ever wanted. All right, the Cardinals lose to the Brewers on the road on Monday. Final score in Milwaukee was 5-1. The second game of that series is this evening starting at 6:40. Michael McGreevy going to start on the mound for this one. As it stands right now, the Cardinals are in second place in the National League Central, 2 games behind the Brewers.
Ooh.
So if the Cardinals can win today and tomorrow, they'll actually be in first place.